Stick with me here. We are diving into a world where a massive monster tower suddenly dropped from nowhere. Endless creatures swarmed out like angry bees, pushing helpless humanity right to the absolute edge of total extinction. When all hope was lost, an epic group called the Progenitors finally stepped up. The very first transcendent generation. They completely crushed the monster invasion and smashed the tower down. Securing a massive victory, these unstoppable heroes were worshipped as saviors. When they passed, they were honored in the legendary Progenitors Sanctuary. Flash forward several centuries after that legendary event. As a kid, Minato loved reading their epic tales in the library. Like that one incredible blade master who wiped out 10,000 beasts with just a single strike. Or the supreme mage who mastered magic secrets, casting any spell without speaking a single word. These legendary heroes were larger than life. Minato dreamed of making his own epic history until one day he finally got the sign. The exact same mark given to anyone chosen to become a powerful transcendent. He swore that he would train hard and become a legendary hero just like those original progenitors. Or at least that is what he hoped. The final exam results drop. Everyone else celebrates passing, but unfortunately Minato gets a crushing notification that he completely failed to meet the passing requirements. While the rest of the room goes wild with joy, he is entirely crushed. Some classmates even have the nerve to ask him to clean up before they leave to party. People joke you just sign your name to pass the hunter exam, but honestly our guy just failed it 3 years straight. Now watch closely because this is tragic. With only 3 tries allowed, his ultimate dream is officially gone forever. Even after crushing the written test and boosting his aura, he feels the mark is useless if he cannot even graduate. To him, that special chosen symbol feels as completely worthless as a basic health test. Tears fall as Minato realizes how unfair life is. He just wanted to be a hero. From the window, someone shouts at him to hurry up since everyone is waiting outside. He drags his feet bitter because he should be the one getting all the attention and adoring stares. Everyone is literally losing their minds over Kazaki, the ridiculously handsome new prodigy and absolute superstar A-rank hunter. Smiling brightly, Kazaki apologizes for the massive hype. The classmates glare at Minato for keeping their superstar waiting so long. Kazaki casually warns them not to be mean to the weak, making the boys grumble. Flashing an intimidating look, the mighty hunter reminds them there is a massive team of reporters right behind him. One guy acts super impressed by Kazaki's elite academy background, hoping the young star does not mind being filmed all day long. The reporter asks if he is cool with them using an epic dragon battle photo for the upcoming magazine cover. Acting super humble, the hunter says it is a great idea even if he thinks it looks average. Minato watches from behind. They literally started together, but Kazaki instantly became the ultimate genius, getting absolutely perfect scores in every single subject. You see where this is going, right? That golden boy is his absolute bully. They spent the entire year in the exact same class. Shaking Minato wonders why he must endure this extremely humiliating camera time. A curious reporter suddenly points and asks who Minato is. Kazaki smoothly lies that they are close old friends, not even knowing his name, while another reporter whispers quietly, putting on a show. The star claims Minato was always struggling, so he constantly took time out of his busy schedule to mentor him. He even brags about helping him financially, which makes Minato boil with absolute rage inside. In reality, Kazaki just robbed his money constantly, never giving back a single cent. It was truly a nightmare year. Meanwhile, the clueless reporters praise the hunter, calling him absolutely perfect inside and out. Flashing a fake smile, the liar promises never to disappoint. Swearing his name will go down as a truly legendary transcendent hero. A reporter chimes in, saying Minato is incredibly lucky, telling the poor guy he should be super grateful for everything. The intense pressure makes Minato panic. Before he can speak, the bully casually reminds everyone that he completely failed the exam. With a terrifying hidden smirk, Kazaki mocks how awful his day must be, threatening that it could end with an even more painful score. But the only thing flooding Minato's mind is the massive trauma he suffered all year. Minato trembles completely out of control under his dark intimidation. So what do we make of this? Blinded by flashes, he caves, publicly swearing he is forever grateful to the absolute monster who ruined him. Come along with me. The hunter drops him, snapping that it is enough, mostly because they are completely out of time. Cass happily invites everyone to see his trophies, absolutely delighting the entire crew. These guys completely forgot Minato's name, claiming it does not matter for their story. Honestly, nobody cares. When you are just a total loser, your inner rottenness means absolutely nothing to anyone else. If they become a real hunter, everyone respects them. The world finally remembers their names. Sobbing quietly, the boy wonders if his name will ever mean anything. Suddenly, a loud voice calls out, making him jump in shock. The bully orders him to visit the shrine after school. Minato panics instantly, nervously wondering what these guys actually want from him. Flashing a totally fake smile, Kei asks if he wants to retake the exam. He claims he said great things about the boy to the Hunter Association. Totally shocked, Minato asks why. Kei casually replies that he just wants to look like a nice guy. After all, the news reporters are doing one final shoot at the location today. He casually mentions they can talk more about it later. Looking incredibly intimidating, Kei warns him to be there. Still, Minato wonders if trusting this guy is actually smart. He hates the idea of being used just to boost this arrogant hunter's image, but this could be his ultimate chance to turn things around. Thinking it over carefully, the anxious boy finally calms down. He confidently decides that this time he will absolutely pass. The superstar of the next progenitor generation is publicly vowing to protect all of humanity from terrifying monsters. His public image is totally flawless. After filming wraps, reporters eagerly thank Kei for allowing the shoot despite his incredibly demanding schedule. The hunter waits until everyone finally leaves. Then he steps inside the shrine for what awaits him. "Now pay attention here!" He asks his lackeys if they found the hidden entrance. Smiling brightly, the boys confirm it, and the superstar orders them to grab the stuff. Suddenly, a bold voice from behind demands to know what he is doing. Without even trying to hide it, he openly admits his shady treasure hunt. Minato fiercely objects, calling it robbery and asking if he respects the buried heroes. The elite hunter just scoffs, stomping the ground with insane force and sending sharp rocks flying everywhere. The superstar laughs, claiming they are just a bunch of moldy mummies. He brags about making an absolute fortune selling these ancient items instead of letting them rot away. He mocks Minato for actually believing that progenitor nonsense, even though those perfect heroes were exactly who the boy once wished to become. The emotional boy remembers promising to be just like them. Thinking about this suddenly fills him with rage. He charges forward to strike the villain, but being perfect at everything, Kei dodges effortlessly. Finding an opening, he punches Minato hard in the stomach, forcing him to cough up his vital fluids. The arrogant superstar asks if the boy forgot who he is facing. Shaken, Minato realizes that brutal strike could have actually ended him. His lackeys loudly call out, revealing they found the items. Their heavy backpack is completely packed. Even while badly injured on the ground, Minato remains extremely worried about this. Sensing a strong aura, the superstar wonders if it comes from the items. He already imagines living like total royalty for the rest of their days. Grabbing the injured boy by the shirt, he sneers that he just needed someone gullible enough to fall for that fake retake exam lie. "You and I saw this coming, right?" Hearing rumors about the boy, Kei just laughed. He finally found the perfect fall guy for his fake story. A pathetic loser, totally devastated by his failed dreams, decided to steal a legendary treasure from his own heroes and mysteriously vanished. The cruel hunter claims it will absolutely make front-page news. The trending article will feature a third-year student accused of robbing the sacred Progenitors Sanctuary. And according to the police, they already have a prime suspect. As he cruelly lets go of the boy, he casually asks his name one last time. Minato is terrified, fully aware these are probably his final moments. But the arrogant superstar coldly says his name does not matter anyway. Then the helpless boy plummets off the steep cliff. Crashing into the cold water, he desperately wonders if his life really ends right here, knowing that absolutely nobody will ever remember his name. Suddenly glowing orbs of light surround him, completely transforming into truly strange, supernatural beings. The mysterious strangers debate if this broken boy is the perfect vessel they have awaited to fulfill their final hopes. They finally introduce themselves as the ancient spirits resting in the Progenitors Sanctuary. The shocked boy opens his eyes wide at this amazing revelation. He frantically wonders what is happening, what these magical lights and voices are, and if these figures are the true heroes. One spirit explains that his unique mark is the legendary mark of the void. While it holds zero power on its own, it can absorb and contain absolutely any power within it. He then asks Minato to choose a progenitor to bond with. He explains that every glowing figure here is a supreme master of their own specific domain, just like powerful mages, martial artists, legendary sword masters, elite spear fighters, and mystical summoners. Whoever he chooses will bless him with power beyond his wildest dreams. That is where we leave it. The spirit asks again, and Minato knows exactly what he wants. Stick with me. You and I are about to watch a Zero become a legend. Sick of bullies like Casey, he rejects this unfair reality. He desperately wishes for ultimate power, hoping to erase every ounce of past humiliation. The master urges him to hurry up and choose. But this underdog decides he wants the power of every single one. These legendary spirits find his ambition absolutely wild. But they hesitate, worried it is impossible. Even a master-tier vessel might completely shatter trying to contain them all. But taking charge for the very first time, believing this is his final moment, Minato boldly tells them to shut up. No more excuses. He firmly commands that he wants every single spirit inside him. Instantly, all those legendary auras are violently sucked into the glowing mark on his hand. Stunned by this crazy pull, some legendary spirits call him insolent, totally splitting their opinions. Suddenly, a giant magic circle ignites beneath his feet. KZ is the very first to realize something is terribly wrong. Glowing water rapidly rises around them. A panicked henchman pops an umbrella shielding the completely shocked superstar from getting soaked. Everyone stares in pure shock as Minato levitates, radiating a massive golden aura. He touches down right in front of them. Gone is the fearful gaze of that weak underdog they used to bully. Completely rattled, the spiky-haired lackey shouts that Minato is honestly way harder to squash than an annoying cockroach. Minato calmly checks something pulsing in his hand. Then the bullies finally spot it. Realizing what he is holding, they absolutely burst into arrogant laughter, mockingly asking if he seriously thinks he can hurt them with a tiny wooden stick. Now watch closely. KZ says he has seen enough. He orders his crew to take the boy down, making absolutely sure he never returns to bother them again. Following orders, Spiky Hair summons a glowing sword. Showing off, he asks if Minato remembers who always gets perfect scores in sword exams, bragging the underdog should feel deeply honored. Completely unshaken, the former underdog calmly asks if he actually believes that flashy weapon comes from a true blade master. But ignoring him completely, the bully charges forward. Minato effortlessly defends using his stick, and incredibly, the arrogant swordsman is the one who gets completely slashed right along with his shattered weapon. Minato casually asks how someone can even tell it is a true master's blade, but the stunned bully cannot utter a single word. The others just stare, totally terrified by this crazy outcome. Stepping up, the confident boy repeats his very same question. After all, he really wants to know what made that guy think his sword was so special. But the massive guy doesn't give him a chance, unleashing his green magic, the gaze of destruction practically acting like the legendary boss of the 7th grade classroom. Bathed in a blazing yellow aura, Minato just points his finger, calls him way too slow, and casts the spell Hadad. The bully is absolutely floored. He was definitely not supposed to know that spell. A massive, brilliant explosion erupts, and the giant bully crashes to the ground, completely scorched like barbecue. KZ is left utterly stunned that his opponent could strike someone with a literal twig, then perfectly cast spells without chanting a single word. It is just like the legendary Blade Master who defeated 10,000 monsters with a single command, or the mage who unlocked all magic secrets casting spells entirely unspoken. These transcendent heroes were larger than life, just like characters from an epic fairy tale. Let that sink in for a second. Exactly 106 legendary spirits now live inside Minato Kane's body. Minato recalls the superstar claiming his own name would definitely go down in history as a great transcendent hero. But now Minato casually states that Bully's name will be completely forgotten. Why? Because Minato decided to erase it, leaving only their glorious names in immortal legends. A blinding blue aura illuminates the boy, giving him a seriously intimidating godlike presence. It feels completely incredible to Minato, who can literally feel these legendary spirits surging inside him right alongside that mysterious mark of the void. He feels them brimming with emotion. The voices of ancient heroes echo loudly inside his mind. One is amazed by the countless runes, while another claims he hasn't felt this completely free in centuries. Minato read the epic tales of these spirits so many times he memorized them all. Still, it is incredibly hard to believe these same heroes are inside him. He closes his eyes, feeling them, and seeing them all smiling together. Suddenly, their expressions shift. They must decide exactly who will take control of his body. Then the swordsman calls to him. Raikiro Hananoi, the legend who defeated 10,000 monsters with a single strike. The long-haired man smiles, saying it is a true pleasure to know his reputation lives on even after so many years. After all, true legends never fade. He asks what the boy intends to do now. Minato assumes he means the final bully, but the ancient hero shakes his head no. Pointing straight at the real incoming threat, the swordsman asks how he will handle that. Then the chosen one snaps awake, finally understanding the serious situation. As Minato steps up, a nervous KZ still can't resist calling him a loser. Drawing his blade, the superstar arrogantly asks how he dares challenge an A-rank hunter ready to teach him a harsh lesson. But he definitely doesn't get to finish talking. He gets punched squarely in the face. The hit is so powerful it sends the bully flying. Showing zero emotion, Minato simply wants this guy completely out of his path. A dark aura spills from the backpack, growing incredibly bright. As Minato watches in awe, Raikiro proudly smiles. Trust me, we are just getting started. All right, stick with me. You are about to witness pure citywide chaos as a massive three-headed black dog smashes through absolutely everything. With a deafening growl, it halts right before one guy. Those three heads snap viciously, but the man easily jumps back, dodging the beast before landing an absolutely crushing direct strike. The crowd is totally shocked. Kurasag, an S-rank hunter, just one-shotted an A-rank beast. He smiles, thanking everyone and asking for KZ. Then it hits him the superstar had an interview lined up. Great publicity for their guild, honestly. But handing in the mission report, he spots something super weird. Is that a monster's aura? Where is this intense energy from? Sensing immense danger, he turns around in total panic. The guys are dropping fast, and someone yells what is happening right now. This pressure is absolutely unreal. Even the strongest A and B class hunters are collapsing. He realizes this could be an S-rank threat demanding a huge raid team. The energy keeps growing, crushing everyone around. It is erupting straight from the Progenitors Sanctuary. Meanwhile, Kay is completely floored. What he sees next is nightmare fuel. A terrifying, dark beast with endless eyes slithers from the backpack. Totally panicked, the superstar asks where this thing came from. Minato calmly replies it is his own fault for disrespecting the sanctuary. One of the sealed tower boss monsters was hiding right inside those stolen items he greedily grabbed. Rikuro points out that some beasts actually cheat fate using a hibernation trick. Now pay close attention because this dark plague of futility is no joke. Dozens of eyes snap open. It is S-rank minimum. This thing radiates a nasty green aura, easily wiping out anyone for kilometers on end. Back in the Golden Age, these things were everywhere. Kay tries to run away, but the swordsman Minato warns him any sudden movement makes you the primary target. Nothing hides from those eyes. A tentacle shoots out, making the superstar scream wildly. His famous sword shatters into pieces. Unbelievable, right? He literally defeated a dragon with that exact blade. The tentacle violently strikes the boy, and his energy gets instantly drained away. Minato just shrugs, saying he tried to warn him. Then Rikuro speaks up, asking if the kid wants to share his body. The swordmaster says he has seen his skills and knows the Hinwa sword's true power, tempting him while the others get ready. Benedo cheerfully agrees to lend his body out, and the long-haired guy is amazed by his confidence. But the other spirits absolutely refuse to let him keep this incredibly fresh, energetic vessel to himself. But here is the ultimate surprise: the boy offers his body to everyone. He boldly claims he will outshine them all, doing whatever it takes to win. He knows he needs to feel their absolute peak strength firsthand, demanding they show him every single epic move. Reiro is honestly getting annoyed with this cheeky brat taking huge advantage of the situation. You and I know they bit off way more than they can chew. He channels his flawless technique through Minato like a genius puppet master pulling the strings. Now they are completely ready to dominate. With lightning-fast spear strikes, the beast gets slashed instantly, losing a massive tentacle. Tough luck for the kid, his wooden stick breaks too. But no worries, another legendary master tags in with pure martial arts. Minato punches the beast hard. Another tentacle gets completely ripped off. Moving fast, the boy snatches a sturdy branch. Suddenly, another hero takes the wheel, followed instantly by a brand new spirit. Not a single progenitor gets left behind. This relentless combo leaves the creature totally wrecked. While the beast is dizzy, Minato grabs his backpack. But wait, the archer tags in. Battle continues. A glowing arrow strikes the beast, shooting blinding light rays everywhere. Green fluid splashes the boy's face. Minato simply wipes it off and charges back in, flawlessly chaining attacks from every single master. Channeling Reichiro, he grabs Kaisa's shattered blade. Sneaky tentacles lash out, but they magically freeze solid right in midair. This time, the brilliant mage takes the driver's seat, making the kid jump without warning. The newest prodigy wields the sword alongside Bikira, using the ultimate Hinoi style, summoning a raging sea storm. An explosive lightning bolt shoots right from the sword, completely splitting the massive monster perfectly in half. This epic victory leaves Minato grinning widely. Night falls, moonlight shining down. A single crow watches silently. Somewhere else, a mysterious man gets an urgent phone call. The beast was taken down before he even arrived. He is totally shocked. He never knew elite hunters were around. The crow recorded everything. So what do you and I take from this? Hearing it was a training school kid makes him smile, eager to meet this legend. Stick with me. We are meeting Midori Ikihara, world's strongest transcendent. He's on the phone with the director again. It has been a really long time since they spoke. Midori confirms it was an S-rank monster. The crazy part, the kid who beat it is Minata Kennedy, a student who actually failed the hunter exam 3 whole times. Still totally shocked by this news, he asks the director for a huge favor. Back at the school, everyone is buzzing about yesterday's massive monster attack. One guy keeps bragging about how the monster's aura completely paralyzed him. Another guy jokes about being the one who actually beat the monster, but nobody takes him seriously at all. Word on the street is that the true hero is a student attending this exact school. It sounds totally impossible. A normal student taking down an S-rank creature. Meanwhile, Minata leans against a tree branch, shaking pretty badly. He notices everyone is still obsessing over yesterday's crazy events. Right then, some rude guy forcefully shoves him, barking at him to move aside. The bully assumes there is zero chance a weakling like him could ever fight a monster. Honestly, Minato felt absolutely incredible when he battled that terrifying creature just the day before, but channeling the unbelievable power of the progenitors left his entire body aching so badly today. Laughing, a voice teases that he got tired way too fast. It's Swordmaster Rikiro. Skipping formalities, the man tells the boy to stand up, asking if he wasn't the kid who boldly claimed he had surpassed the progenitors. That immediately sparks Minato's curiosity. Remembering exactly what was said during yesterday's intense fight quickly gives him that much-needed burst of motivation to help. Now watch closely. The swordsman demands perseverance, but the confused crowd wonders what is wrong. Meanwhile, Rikiro notices something about him has truly changed. Modern transcendence seems awfully weak. Honestly, no better than an average person on the street. He fully believes if the tower suddenly appeared right now, the entire human world would vanish. Suddenly, he senses something entirely different. Someone is projecting an aura so overwhelmingly vast it could swallow everyone. Even Manhwa notices his weird expression and asks if something is wrong, but he quickly denies it. A guy suddenly bursts out yelling for the boy to come inside immediately. This totally makes the spirit vessel panic, thinking he is getting expelled from school. He knows everyone only gets 3 chances at the exam, with the final one being an ordinary test, giving any random civilian a shot at becoming a hunter. But the guy totally surprises him, ordering him to the field. He is being tested again. Students overhearing this even comment they are not sure if that is allowed. Minato isn't in peak physical shape today, but he plans to crush the 100-yard dash where average is 3.6 seconds and top is 2.7. That big bully from earlier mocks the boy's loser reputation for failing the test, claiming this random second chance is probably just handed out of pure pity. The shot fires and Minato sprints forward with absolutely everything he's got. He instantly silences everyone, shattering the record with 1.2 seconds. The next test is a 1.8-mile run, averaging 4 minutes, but he finishes in 1 minute 17. He shatters expectations, cranking out 840 push-ups in 2 minutes. He bench presses 2,820 pounds. I know exactly what you are thinking. Is this boy even human? His insane records leave everyone completely shocked, doubling all previous scores like an absolute unstoppable beast on the field. Meanwhile, Minato genuinely wonders if all these crazy feats were just the legendary progenitors lending their powers again. But Rikiro questions why on earth they would help with something so absurd. They were just watching him. Inside the principal's office, they tally up his final scores. Midori examines the paperwork, completely shocked by these impossible records. The principal asks why she even requested this retest, openly admitting the kid's athletic abilities are absolutely remarkable. However, the big problem lies in his mana measurement. Across all 3 tests, his level remained completely immeasurable. Simply put, the boy has 0 energy. That is why the man expects absolutely nothing from him. Knowing this, she tells Midori the Transcendent is probably dead wrong about Minato. He brushes it off as the strongest man simply tells her to just wait and see. Next test. The instruction is to spin the fan as many times as humanly possible in 30 seconds, and those total rotations become his final score. Minato painfully remembers that no matter how hard he practiced, he was completely unable to achieve anything over the past 3 years. Back then, he literally could not even feel magic. But right now, he fully understands it is all about perfect circulation. Mana surges up, starting right from the tip of his right foot, flows completely through his entire body, and returns to its origin using deep breathing to control that intense flow. Then he powerfully fires it straight from his open palm. The teen monitoring this test tells him to begin. Suddenly, a brilliant blue energy starts circulating rapidly from Minato's body, flowing right toward the fan. It spins faster and stronger, stunning everyone. Trust me, you and I absolutely need to see what's next. Stick with me here. Those numbers keep climbing endlessly. The fan spins so wildly fast, measuring anything becomes completely impossible. Boom! Everything ends in a massive explosion. The device bursts into flames, leaving the surrounding students completely startled. You can even see it from the principal's office. Something fast is flying right toward them. The fan blade violently lodges into the ceiling. The old man nearly loses his hair in shock. While his assistant panics, Midori explains this boy must be a very special case like himself. He declares Minato is the second student ever since himself to possess a completely immeasurable mana level. Not only is the crowd totally shocked, but the boy himself stands completely stunned by what just happened. Anyway, the man proudly congratulates him for passing the hunter test with flying colors. Plus, he just smashed all the brand new records. Minato stares at his hand, totally speechless. Overcome with deep emotion, he simply cannot believe all that incredible power exists right inside him. But this is exactly what Rikiro expected. The second he lent his body to the progenitors, his hidden latent powers truly awakened. Now pay attention here. Minato isn't just some ordinary person bearing the void mark. For years, they desperately waited for someone exactly like him. This boy is the key to fulfilling their dreams. Suddenly, something else completely catches the vessel's attention. A brilliant light suddenly flashes, nearly blinding him. Startled, he asks the hero if it is some massive explosion. This explains the powerful wave the swordsman felt this morning. With a bright smile, Midori suddenly appears. Realizing exactly who it is leaves the boy utterly speechless. He wonders what the strongest transcendent in the world is doing right there. The blonde legend says he watched his test performance closely, warmly, congratulating Manage for passing the exam. He announces it is time for the bonus exam. The goal, try to land a single hit on the world's strongest transcendent. Minato's jaw practically drops to the floor in pure shock. Midori, 23 years old, became a hunter at just 9 and has been extremely active as a transcendent ever since. He can wipe out 1,000 monsters with one strike, easily defeating weak hunters using just his aura. He nearly single-handedly resolved the pandemonium 10 years ago and stopped the Kyushu crisis 5 years ago. Suddenly, a mysterious voice calls out, leaving the boy even more terrified. Flashing a wicked smile, Raikira demands to borrow his body. Midori casually explains the only rule. The boy simply needs to hit him within exactly 1 minute. There is 0 penalty if he fails, but he warns he will attack every 10 seconds. The strongest transcendent tells him not to worry. He will go easy, claiming he won't use any skills while allowing Minato to use absolutely whatever he wants. The blonde hero even brought a few weapons for him to choose from. The former loser feels amazed yet highly suspicious, wondering when the other prepared all this. We both felt that. He's totally confused about this bonus exam, questioning if he's really fighting a famous person for 1 whole minute. The boy nervously asks if it is really okay to use a weapon, and Midori casually replies that his body is tough as steel. Demonstrating his immense strength, the strongest transcendent claims he can break any blade used against him. Meanwhile, the hero desperately begs to help with this. Rikiro is totally thrilled, nearly bouncing off the walls with excitement, realizing not everyone is weak. So Minato quickly realizes his opponent is so powerful that even a mighty progenitor is eager to fight. Honestly, he knows there's 0 chance to defeat Midori. Thinking about all this pressure is just too much for the boy. In that case, there is only one thing left to do. Students are practically hanging by the window, extremely excited to watch the duel begin. Meanwhile, the swordsman loudly shouts for the boy to give him control of the body. Either way, Midori reveals the timer on his phone, officially marking the start of the battle. The weapon Manhwa proudly chooses is a sword. He dashes in, ready to strike. Rikiro feels totally terrified that the kid is doing this alone, thinking it's completely unfair. The boy knows it is totally reckless, but he wants to become an absolute legend someday. For that, he simply must experience the immense power of a true fight. Despite his best effort, he doesn't even manage to graze the opponent. Effortlessly dodging every attack, Midori playfully asks what social media the boy uses, since fight videos will be online soon. The crowd stands amazed by the blonde's defense. He is doing it all without even looking up from his phone. Meanwhile, Minato tries with all his absolute might to land 1 hit. To the strongest transcendent, this fight feels like child's play. The blade in the progenitor's vessel fiercely radiates raw mana. Although Midori is doing well, one student is actually impressed with Minato. Many people would be completely exhausted after throwing so many attacks. The boy shows absolutely no sign of slowing down. He relentlessly seeks an opening, rapidly attacking with a diagonal strike, a horizontal split, and even a shin attack. A super audacious move aimed at the throat, but no success. However, Minato is completely amazed that his body is doing exactly what he wants without tiring out at all. He isn't sure if it's because he lent his body to the progenitors, but he definitely feels something major has changed. And that's where we leave it. A touch to his forehead snaps his focus. 10 seconds have passed, and a devastating energy blast is unleashed. Let's dive right into this wild showdown. Minato barely dodges the hit. The kid is terrified by this godlike power, glancing back at absolute destruction everywhere. Minato is completely stunned. This is what Midori calls holding back. 1 second slower and he would have lost his head entirely. But something feels wrong to Midori. He never loses control of his immense power like this. He doesn't sense any real threat from his opponent at all. Meanwhile, the hero's vessel finally wakes up to the overwhelming danger. If he doesn't step up right now, he will be eliminated. He desperately needs to remember his past power. The kid is completely fired up now. Midori definitely notices this shift. He feels much more capable and confident. Minato prepares to launch another strike. The spectators watching this showdown are absolutely amazed. Everything just got way faster. Cameras cannot even track their movements anymore. This time, Midoriya notices his rival handling the sword way better than before. But he remembers the kid moving much faster when he took down that grade 6 monster. This makes him seriously wonder. Does Minato need a special condition to trigger his power, or is he just faking? Glancing at his phone screen, he quickly checks the remaining time. He is shocked to see 41 seconds still left in this fight. The blonde guy plans to be super gentle. Now watch closely, here is where it gets crazy. He flashes that hand sign, strikes Manito's chest, and launches his full power. The impact sends the kid flying way back, literally crashing right through a solid wall. He even coughs from the massive hit. He absolutely cannot believe this. He is really battling the strongest transcendent on Earth, taking a massive direct hit head-on. His past self would have been completely destroyed by that single strike, making this survival absolutely incredible. But he knows he is still nowhere near good enough to pass Midori's intense test, so he will keep pushing his limits for the rest of this exam. He walks right past Midori, who shows zero reaction. The boy stops, completely puzzled by the blonde's behavior. Midori simply apologizes, claiming he has seen enough with 30 seconds left. With one swift blow, he strikes Minato right in the neck. Game over for him. Midori knows the kid has real talent, but not enough to match his level. He never saw that insane power the kid unleashed against the S-rank monster. Calling Ren over the blonde says they should leave since his opponent was totally boring. Hearing those harsh words, Minato tightly grips his blade. He absolutely hates the way Midori talked about him. Standing up, he is suddenly glowing with that same intense energy. While the stubborn kid passes out, Rikiro finally takes full control of his body. A master swordsman challenges the world's strongest transcendent. This massive shift in aura is definitely noticed by Midori. Taking control, the long-haired man asks if he is ready for actual fun. Now Minato just watches as someone else commands his body in battle. This is exactly what the strongest transcendent was eagerly waiting for. Moments ago, this was the exact energy he felt, the force that made his own immense power spiral out. Midori wonders if this is a transformation or a skill. Let that sink in for a second. It doesn't matter because his opponent is now an absolute beast. Rikira loudly yells at him to stop getting distracted while chatting. The blonde instantly realizes these new movements are entirely different in speed, raw power, and sword technique. A sharp blade stops just millimeters from striking his eye. He dodges just in time. Midori is forced to use far more movement than before. Minato is not playing games anymore, which actually worries him. The kid has a fierce look in his eyes, charging forward with absolutely everything he has. Explosive energy echoing across the battlefield shatters nearby windows, terrifying the escaping crowd. The blonde realizes these heavy sword strikes are no longer cautious or hesitant like before. He now attacks with the unbreakable confidence of a veteran warrior reading his enemy. It feels as natural as flowing water. No, even better, it is the unstoppable force of a massive tidal wave destroying everything in its path. Regardless, he finally understands exactly how this crazy kid defeated that massive S-rank monster. Midori quickly notices 40 seconds left on the clock, deciding it is his turn to strike. Still completely in control, Rikiro jokingly asks if he expects him to miss something obvious. The absolute strongest transcendent floats several meters up in the air. Laughing out loud, he finds this truly incredible. Meanwhile, the sidelines are completely shocked that Minato forced his mighty opponent onto the defensive. Looking totally bored, Rikiro says to ignore all rules and demands his rival attack with full power. If the blonde holds back, he will seriously make him regret it. The powerful progenitor charges forward, swinging his blade. Midori stays sharply focused, ready for whatever happens. A strange flying object suddenly lands right near the weapon pile, making every single blade magically levitate. The master swordsman looks up, realizing the insane truth. Standing right inside that massive weapon storm is Midori. The blonde goes all in. Trust me, this is exactly what the madman Reiro wanted. Stick with me. We are watching an insane mid-air battle. They collide in a fast blur that leaves everyone absolutely speechless. This is totally the most epic and exciting fight they have ever had. Ryoro is staying fully alert. Another progenitor feels super impressed that the kid keeps up, and honestly everyone else entirely envies not being in the long-haired guy's place. Minaba's body simply cannot fully withstand the incredible swordsman's epic power. Seeing this, the old man considers helping out, but they tell him to stay put or he will just get in the way. Meanwhile, the mage is the only one actually worried about the real Minato watching. Rikiro performs awesome strikes, throwing huge diagonal slashes and fast uppercuts. He moves with his wrist. The man teaches him to swing upward, follow with a quick uppercut, and shift his center of gravity forward. All of this intense action results in the blade shattering into pieces. The swordsman limits the damage to his sword. Meanwhile, Midori finds it super impressive and gets incredibly excited. He announces there are only 10 seconds left and asks what the boy plans to do next. Suddenly, Reiki jumps straight out of the arena. Spectators are totally confused, unsure what he is planning. He borrows a sword from the bully who shoved Minato earlier. Now watch closely. Before he even returns, the fight resumes. Midori charges directly at him, causing serious damage to the entire school structure. But with Rikiro still in control, the body comes out unscathed. The two warriors resume their intense airborne battle. While they have fun fighting, the other students worry the entire building might actually collapse at this rate. Midori's attention completely shifts to the fan blade that broke loose. He grabs the propeller stuck in the structure. His massive strength causes part of the object to crack. The swordsman carefully watches what he is doing. While still in the air, the world's top transcendent grips the blade and takes aim. The best is yet to come. It is the awesome Kanoi-style sword technique. Lightning splits the huge fan blade in multiple directions, turning the object into tiny pieces. Midori laughs, finding it the absolute most amazing thing ever. But the sword Reichiro borrowed also shatters. Now it is the blonde's turn. He has 60 seconds and it is his time to strike. He aims directly at Minato's body. His truly immense power is even felt by the spirits. Minato grabs onto the swordmaster. This epic move allows him to gain momentum and reclaim control of his own body. The first thing he sees when back in control is Midori ready to attack. Their hands meet at the very moment of impact, and the full force of the blow lands there. Both Midori and Reichiro are totally shocked by what they see. The boy's hand is completely injured, but even so, he is already preparing his next big strike, still wanting to know if his awesome rival can block it. Then he finally lands a clean hit on the strongest transcendent in the world. Dueling between true supreme masters is a rare sight. Amidst rapid attacks, counterattacks, and non-stop defenses, the two warriors search for the right answer. You feel that, right? It is like a breathtaking chess match. All anyone can do is step back and watch in awe. That is how it is with Reichiro. It was just for a brief moment, but the boy tried something not even that legendary guy had thought of before. He unlocked an entirely new path, launching a direct attack even after a hit. All he hoped for was a single strike to land. However, not everything goes as smoothly planned. His hand stopped just inches from his opponent's face. Unfortunately, he was not strong enough to land the blow. But Midori has a clever plan in mind, and the strongest man in the world makes the former loser touch his face. With a warm smile, he tells Minato he passed. The building is in complete chaos. The spectators wonder who the true winner really is. Midori calls out to his assistant. Ren asks where they are going, and the blonde explains that the boy passed, asking if she can heal his broken arm. The students are incredibly shocked to hear that Minato actually passed the test. Realizing that he really did land a clean hit on Midori, they all cheer. Meanwhile, the assistant tells him not to move as she heals his arm. With a kind smile, Ren happily congratulates him for passing. Feeling more at ease, he thanks her for both that and the healing until he suddenly realizes what she really said, sitting up in alarm to understand what is going on. Midori himself asks if he does not remember jokingly saying he is offended by that. He says maybe he gave some bonus points, but either way, the boy passed. The blonde praises the sick combos in the middle of the fight, but Minato knows it was all Reichiro. However, what actually surprised Midori was when the boy successfully managed to dodge his final attack. To hit him, that was particularly impressive, and he cheerfully says the boy should be proud of himself. Deeply impressed by those nice words, the host of the Progenitors thanks him. There is something Minato wants to know, so he asks if he gets anything for passing the test. Even Ren waits for the blonde's answer. Midori seems completely caught off guard by his own plan. Minato waits. They watch the ruined room as night falls. Dinner is prepared. We just witnessed pure greatness. Come along with me. In the kitchen, Minato's mom asks how many guests are eating tonight. Nervously, he replies he isn't totally sure, but absolutely guarantees at least one person will show up. Either way, she calls today absolutely perfect because he finally passed his big exam and caught a super famous hunter's eye. Humming with pure joy, she happily preps the food. She proudly admits she always knew her amazing boy could achieve absolute greatness through hard work. Feeling pretty anxious about feeding a celebrity, she jokes their place looks like a doghouse. But our boy quickly insists that Midori would never judge their cozy home. After wrapping up chores, the tired kid flops onto his bed. Staring at that card, he recalls the crazy moment Ren totally floored Midori for keeping her completely in the dark earlier. Trying to cool the mood, the blonde begs Midori to confirm they agreed to team up if he passed, but the stubborn guy completely shoots that idea down. Groaning in pain, the VIP claims too many nosy people are watching this messy drama unfold. He suggests sneaking over to Minato's house tonight to safely iron out the final details. They need to discuss secret strategies regarding the actual enemy. And that exact topic has Minato feeling incredibly anxious right now. After all, the ancient creators completely wiped out the tower ages ago. Hunters just smash runaway monsters spilling from weird dimensional rifts. He seriously thought that was their only job, but now wonders if they secretly handle much bigger threats. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out, totally startling Minato. It's Rikira trying to get his attention. The whole squad is gathered, making the anxious spirit vessel wonder what's wrong. The swordsman calmly announces they finally wrapped up their private chat. Surprised, Minato quickly asks if they were literally voting on who controls his body next. That was exactly their wild topic. Sweating nervously, the kid braces for the final verdict, but instead the guy stands up, guessing Midori is already waiting outside. Watch closely now. He steps downstairs into silent darkness until something instantly catches his eye. He panics, shouting for his mom sprawled across the floor. He screams her name again, desperately sprinting over while sensing a massive, terrifying presence lurking inside his own home. He catches a blurry shadow moving from his peripheral vision. Some absolute creep is aggressively raiding their dinner, shoving food into his face. The nasty intruder loudly complains the meal tastes like total garbage. He rudely tells Minato he will teach his mother a harsh lesson so she finally learns to serve top-tier meat to important guests. The furious kid demands to know what happened to her, but the villain warns him to watch his tone. He introduces himself as Gorowani, an S-rank powerhouse working alongside Midori here to collect him immediately. Then the arrogant jerk barks at Minato to pack his bags fast so they can hit headquarters. But in that split second, Minato only wants to strike back. The guy violently smacks him down. Flashing a wicked grin, Goro laughs. He asks if the kid actually wants to fight. Minato stares at the ruined kitchen, his mind racing about his poor mom. He remembers losing his dad and her heartfelt promise to always protect her beloved son, no matter what. He also recalls begging her to buy herself new shoes, but she gently brushed it off, lying about getting a fresh pair just to save money. Just this morning, she warmly wished him luck and promised to cook tonkatsu, his absolute favorite meal, for dinner tonight. Boiling with rage, Minato demands answers about his mom again. Meanwhile, the inner squad intensely watches Reichiro. This is a golden opportunity, though. He thinks it mimics Midori. We all felt that shift, right? This fight decides his fate, and Minato absolutely refuses to back down now. Still smiling that wicked grin, Goro calls the furious kid incredibly adorable. He raises his hand to strike, but Minato doesn't flinch or retreat at all. He perfectly blocks the strike midair and with one explosive counter drops the S-rank to the floor. The veteran watches the awesome clash. He might be older, but he's packed with veteran tricks. Everything goes dead silent until Goro gets completely blasted outside. Minato furiously charges out after his target. The shocked intruder scrambles, wondering if that crazy counter was some secret technique. Judging by the viral Midori video, Goro fully assumed this kid just relied on a flashy aura and basic swordsmanship. Now he realizes this furious teenager hits way harder than an A-rank losing patience. Minato aggressively demands a straight answer. He screams to know exactly what happened to his innocent mother. She looks completely paralyzed by some weird toxin, but arrogant Goro mocks him, claiming the clever kid already figured it out. He poisoned the poor woman to keep her completely quiet, knocking her out cold. Smirking, he claims if the brat behaves, she might just suffer mild side effects later. But Minato glares right back flatly, stating he doesn't accept a single word of that. Stunned, the lanky villain asks what he means. Minato furiously asks why on earth he would target the innocent family of a so-called trusted ally. Goro busts out laughing like it's the absolute funniest joke ever, totally mocking the naive kid. The man throws a brutal punch, but the agile kid dodges right in the nick of time. The psycho completely denies being anyone's true friend. He claims he's just a loyal lapdog following orders and that holding an innocent loved one hostage is the absolute best way to control a pathetic weakling. Minato keeps dodging those wild strikes, but suddenly gets his foot pinned. That's where we'll leave it. This gives Goro a perfect opening for another strike. Come along with me. He jumps back, creating space while the boy wonders what is actually happening as his face burns. A weird purple mark spreads across his cheek. Glaring at the tall guy, he spots sharp blades and some strange liquid dripping from his fingers. Now it is his turn for poison. This guy can create millions of different types inside his body. If he wanted, he could flood a 5-kilometer radius with toxic gas. But doing that in crowded urban spots is completely off limits. That venom will finish Minato in exactly 1 minute. He only gets the antidote if he agrees to join their guild immediately. But all our boy can think about is that gas. Now he totally gets why people call these guys walking environmental disasters in human form. The more time passes, the faster that liquid spreads. He asks if the sovereign apothecary Warrantine is currently inside him. Apologizing to the lady for the hassle, the boy politely asks her for a quick antidote. Meanwhile, Goro asks who he is talking to, wondering if the fear of fading away is making him hallucinate. Minato casually asks if he remembers that Hapkido technique used just a minute ago. He says that was purely courtesy of Hyo Makoto, the Hand of God. The older man realizes the kid actually copied his technique after seeing it just once. Then there is the Bane of Hordes from Raikiro Haninoi, plus the famous Blue Doom Spear from Kushima. Mulgif, the wielder of many bows. He read the progenitor stories so many times he has absolutely everything memorized. It was his biggest life wish to be like them, and now he reveals they are inside him. Watch closely here. This completely catches Goro off guard. Minato basically tells him there is zero reason to be afraid. That seriously annoys the tall man. He declares that if fear will not work, he will just use pure pain. He claims the next venom will make the kid beg for mercy. His liquid blasts into the air, instantly destroying all the living leaves on a nearby tree. Goro says if he surrenders, he gets the serum, though nothing will fix his mind after it breaks from excruciating pain. Minato is totally cornered and defenseless, yet he shows zero signs of fear. A bright aura ignites his body and he blasts his opponent with the legendary fist of Takwon. The strike hits square in the chest, making him cough up vital fluids. The hero watches this fight super impressed. Goro is sent flying backward, but Minato is definitely not finished with him yet. This time he unleashes the Shining Foot, an epic technique from Progenitor Irsen, who watches the battle completely amazed. The guy gets kicked so insanely hard that his feet literally shred the asphalt beneath him. Minato just keeps advancing. In one final attempt, Goro tries poisoning him, but the boy easily snaps his blades and lands the epic Karilli beak strike, followed by Rowan's dragon claw, grabbing him and leaving the strange pink progenitor deeply impressed. The boy unleashes the uprooter. This time it is a technique from Lilac. That move sends the man spinning straight upward like a top. Goro has absolutely zero clue what happened. We both know his poison normally breaks people. It terrifies targets, frying their neural system until they simply cannot even move a muscle anymore. He wonders how breaking free was even possible. But now it is the Mage of Truth's turn to shine. Minato's finger sparks with golden lightning as he casts Mystius Kentius. While he conjures, the lightning grows massive, blasting right into his target. The progenitors watch everything extremely impressed. Then Riker asks if they really saw that. Back when they defeated Technomra, they only lent their powers once. Yet he copied everything perfectly, including the exact physics and magical abilities. And he is not even totally sure if that is because of the void mark. But either way, the swordsman finds this incredibly exciting. He says they must do absolutely everything to help this boy. They are the true progenitors after all. If they work together and teach him everything, Minato could easily become the greatest transcendent to ever exist. The guys dash quickly between the tall buildings. They know 15 other guilds are currently rushing over to recruit the kid who fought Midori Ikara, so they really do not want to be late. Suddenly, the blonde appears, totally surprising them by mentioning how many people want Minato. Smiling, the strongest transcendent asks if it is really 15. In that case, he declares they are the last. The guy gets totally caught off guard by Minori's blast. That shot sends the opponent crashing into the ground. On the phone, he speaks directly with Ren. She reports arriving at the scene, thankfully sensing zero transcendence in the area, but there is something else that catches her attention. The assistant says someone beat them there because Goro Hirohitani, an S-rank hunter and poison user, is lying completely defeated near Manito's house. The guy is down, and judging by his face, he looks terrible. Hearing this news makes Midori just start laughing. So what do you and I make of this? He knew the boy was special, but defeating an S-rank is purely amazing. You and I are diving in. The blonde asks if he is poisoned. The boy claims he is fine while his mom rests. Minato says she is fine too. Hearing all this, Rikuro admits that without Warren, he and his mom would be wandering the dark underworld right now. He is completely blown away. It took her only 5 seconds to remove the poison. The woman admits she extracted a tiny bit of Goro's serum. Midori apologizes for the delay. He reveals many guilds are actively hunting him after watching that epic fight video. Minato asks if Goro lied about being partners. The blonde explains that is a classic manipulation tactic. The strongest transcendent asks his assistant if she is done. She confirms. Ren has completely restored the walls and the broken fence. With that done, he finally invites them inside to talk. Midori says they must urgently discuss Minato's future. Soon, a brand new day begins. His mom asks if everything is packed, still clearly worrying about his future. The night before, Midori confidently stated he really wanted to recruit Minato. Smiling, the blonde said the kid has massive potential. With proper guidance, he will easily become an absolutely excellent hunter. That completely thrills the progenitor's vessel, claiming he was discovered as a rare talent by Midori Ikara. But that just brings his mom to tears. For his farewell, she packed breakfast in a disposable container so he would not have to bring anything back. Minato's expression looks incredibly somber. She asks if her boy will face constant danger. Being totally honest, Midori sadly confirms her worst suspicions. Now pay close attention. The woman says her son always admired the legendary progenitors, and that is his biggest motivation to become a hunter. Deeply honored to raise him, she is still incredibly worried for his safety as a mother. Midori admits this job brings countless dangers, some impossible to predict. But he promises to train Minato into a highly skilled, powerful warrior like the legendary progenitors he admires. Hearing this, the mother's eyes fill with overwhelming emotion. She warmly thanks him for helping her son. Inside the car, Ren asks if he is entirely sure he can keep that specific promise. After all, nobody can predict the future. Through the rearview mirror, he quietly watches the sweet interaction between this mother and son. The woman gives Minato simple advice like avoiding sleeping on a full stomach and always separating his colored clothes when washing. With that, Midori promises to keep his word as best as he can. Either way, it is finally time to leave. Looking back with a bright smile, Minato asks his mother to take care of herself. And so the emotional woman watches her son depart. Suddenly she calls out. His mother asks him to please come home for New Year's. With teary eyes, he takes one last look back at her. At last, Monado sets off on this brand new phase of his life. Midori asks if he is truly ready to go, and the boy firmly confirms. The vessel of the progenitors admits if he looks at his mother one more time, he might actually be terrified of changing his own mind. Since it is a long trip, the blonde tells him to relax either by eating something or just getting some sleep. Minato stares at the little bag his mom gave him. Inside sits his packed lunch. He opens the food container and his eyes instantly shine with deep emotion. It is his absolute favorite meal. Plus, his mom even wrote him a sweet note wishing him good luck. Remembering all the tough times they survived together, he quietly thanks her. While eating, the boy actually cries, completely moved by the amazing food. Ren just seems like a totally serious, indifferent guy. Meanwhile, Midora completely relaxes in the passenger seat. Everyone is just enjoying the smooth trip, soaking up the beautiful sunny mountain weather. Let that sink in for a second. Looking out the window, Minano asks where they are. Smiling, Midori welcomes him to an ultra-exclusive state agency for rare transcendence. It is called the Counter-Prophecy Unit, or CPU. Once again, he proudly welcomes him to the headquarters. Minato grows super curious about that wild name. Meanwhile, from a dark window, someone secretly watches them. The man announces their latest arrival is finally here. It is the newest recruit joining their squad. A woman holding a teacup curiously asks if they scored a new teammate. The boy admits it is always exciting having fresh recruits. The redhead just wants to see for himself if this rookie will actually become a real partner. Only time will reveal if he is genuinely worthy of joining the legendary Counter-Prophecy Unit. This is Minato's latest challenge. Getting curious, the boy asks more about the facility. He quickly apologizes for asking so many questions, admitting he honestly does not know what any of it means. He assumed he was joining the exact same guild as the blonde. Ren quickly apologizes for not explaining sooner. Because it is a top-tier state secret, they absolutely could not tell his mom anything. Midori advises him to drop his things at the dormitory. The assistant actually offers to carry them, but Minato politely declines. Boom! A strange boy appears mid-air offering to show him the way. He launches a direct attack on the progenitor's vessel, but is totally shocked when his fast strike gets effortlessly blocked. Minato realizes his opponent is strong. The strange boy leaps away, landing with total mastery. Trust me, our real journey starts here. Stick with me. You and I are diving into an epic showdown. Hikotaro introduces himself while Midori literally orders tea just to enjoy watching this fight unfold. Minato is totally confused. They are in the same guild, so why attack him now? Hikotaro cheerfully replies that a friendly brawl is absolutely the best way to teach him everything while testing his true skills. Our dark-haired hero stays on defense as Hikotaro relentlessly attacks. Minato blocks a wild kick, totally feeling that intense, heavy impact. The blonde fighter asks if he wants to know how their counter-prophecy unit actually started. Minato is just amazed this guy can chat during combat. Hikotaro cheerfully asks for his name, and our boy finally introduces himself. Meanwhile, Midori calmly sips his tea. He happily remembers Minato passing that intense hunter exam and then completely crushing the bonus test. Right after that, an S-rank hunter tested him, and now he is taking another wild test at headquarters. It feels like this kid was literally born to take tests, Ren jokes. There is no cure for that, reminding Midori he was the one who actually brought him here. Mid-fight, Hikotaro asks what hunters actually do. Minato quickly answers that their job is eliminating all those wild monsters escaping from the dimensional rifts. That correct answer makes the blonde boy smile brightly. He playfully adds that they are basically super-powered exterminators. Then a new question about other calamities completely confuses our progenitor vessel. So, the blonde explains that sometimes mysterious calamities occur. These are way worse than normal rifts like that wild pandemonium incident 10 years ago or the massive Kyushu outbreak 5 years ago. Completely surprised, Minato admits he thought massive rifts caused those. It is an eye-opening revelation. Hikotaro has not forgotten their duel. He says that is exactly what schools teach and what normal civilians believe. Watch closely here. That is not the full story. Before dropping the epic truth, he launches another surprise attack. The real truth is totally different. Suddenly, the entire area heavily shakes from the impact. His powerful kick instantly destroys Minato's cover tree. Those past situations were actually full-blown dimensional invasions. They were intense extreme crises on the exact same level as that legendary monster tower 300 years ago. Minato is left completely stunned, the craziest part. Those mysterious creatures have not given up on invading yet. Someone from that hidden dimension is actively watching everyone, just waiting for the perfect chance to strike. Mysteriously, modern transcendents are weaker than during the Tower era. Only a few reach progenitor-level power, and that is exactly why this team is here today. Incredible heroes with future sight abilities do their absolute best to predict and anticipate any upcoming world-ending calamities. A small, highly elite squad of fighters does everything possible to stop them. That is exactly where this amazing CPU team comes in. Midori watches their lively conversation looking incredibly proud. But Minato really wants to make absolutely sure he understood this, so the CPU is basically an organization directly fighting against future prophecies. Hikotaro cheerfully confirms it. He notes that nobody else here could block so many fast kicks in a row. Flashing a huge smile, he says it is a massive pleasure meeting him. Midori enjoys watching this awesome scene. Suddenly, the energetic blonde calls for everyone's attention, loudly announcing that the dark-haired boy just passed his test. You and I felt that hidden presence, right? The other CPU transcendence, Hikotaro, quickly asks if Minato is officially joining them. They vanish without a word, surprising even Midori. The blonde boy jokes they might just have to test the progenitor vessel themselves. With that settled, he enthusiastically shows Minato around while happily carrying his heavy suitcase straight to the dorms. Night falls pretty quickly on the academy. Minato is finally resting inside his private room. He intensely thinks about the CPU's true mission. Whenever a global threat prophecy appears, they must fight hard and ensure it never actually happens. He deeply wonders if another massive calamity like that tower will appear, requiring all progenitors to defeat it, and if he will eventually be strong enough to fight it. Suddenly he realizes he is stressing out. Rikiro magically appears cheerfully, declaring the absolute best solution is just diving into intense daily training. This sudden arrival catches the boy completely off guard. It is not just the legendary swordsmen, other notable heroes are chilling there too. He explains he could not share this earlier, but he wants to reveal what all the incredible progenitors have finally decided. Their epic decision, they are going to make Minato the absolute strongest transcendent in history, totally surpassing Midori and literally everyone else. After all, he holds the raw potential to become the greatest. So they want Minato Kanagi to personally study with the legendary progenitors. This leaves the boy totally stunned. He asks if they actually want him as a disciple, still trying to understand their surprising reasoning. Honestly, he fully thought all these powerful heroes just wanted to steal his body. Trust me, you and I will love this. Rikiro jokes about fighting for his body, while Minato frantically begs them not to fight over him. The swordsman admits taking over his body was the original plan, but seeing him actually fight changed their minds entirely. Stick with me here. They found a better idea than taking his body, and honestly, everyone is thrilled. They decided it would be way more fun to train him. Raichiro asks if he remembers that toxic fighter he beat, even though he only saw those tricky techniques exactly one single time. Our boy managed to copy them perfectly. Sure, the moves were not as flawless as the legendary founders, but he still won. Raichiro asks if he even realizes how totally mind-blowing that feat actually was. Minato genuinely wonders if it is all thanks to that mysterious void mark. But the swordsman claims his real genius is absorbing other abilities, making him even better than the legendary founders themselves. Hearing Raichiro say that, Minato simply breaks down in tears, his mind flashing right back to those awful failed exams. Everyone called him completely hopeless. So many people laughed right in his face, mocking his efforts. Nobody ever believed in this kid. They called him a total loser who would never amount to anything. Failing that hunter exam 3 times in a row was completely unheard of. People judged him endlessly, asking why he could not just give up. Or that awful day reporters said his identity meant nothing. Even Casey, the guy trying to take him out, did not even know his name. Nobody ever wondered if he had a future. But then Minato finally met them, and Midori actually told his mother he had incredible potential. Raichiro even boldly claimed he had the raw skill to become the absolute greatest transcendent ever. We both felt that one right after everything. He wonders if he deserves this. Sobbing, Minato asks if he can just be happy finally. He deeply admired these legendary heroes for years, never once dreaming he would actually stand face to face with them. Right now, the founders are here declaring their absolute belief in him. Raichiro is a bit confused by the tears, but flashes a smile. He asks the kid why he is crying. After all, they literally live through him, especially when Minato is fast asleep, making them completely free from the limits of time and space. The swordsman reveals some massive plans, promising to train him 100 hours in real time every single day. By day, the boy will help the organization fight those prophecies. But the nights will be completely different, because those legendary founders will train him while he sleeps. From now on, Minato gets 0 rest. Raichiro casually assumes he is completely ready for this. The boy absorbs those heavy words. Wiping his tears, he eagerly agrees, feeling incredibly honored to learn from these legends. This intense nighttime meeting wraps up and morning quickly arrives. Hiko is quietly trying to pick up on the surrounding sounds. Soon, the sound of footsteps approaches. Smiling, he turns to warmly greet the person. Minato wishes him a good morning, and Hiko instantly notices just how exhausted the dark-haired kid looks. Minato claims he is simply adjusting, and the blonde laughs, admitting his first day was identical. But wait, Hiko can definitely sense something way more intense. Watch closely. Spotting a faint aura around the boy, his eyes widen in pure realization. The blonde launches another kick, but Minato effortlessly dodges it and spits. Smiling brightly, our former underdog asks for a quick second to wake up, saying he will meet him later. Hiko is left totally confused by this interaction, finding it extremely bizarre since his kick was way faster today. Everyone gathers for breakfast inside the main academy dining hall. Hanging with Minato, the blonde kid is hyped to find a good spot, but someone else is already claiming that table. Being polite, he asks to join her. She keeps eating, and Hiko sits down, telling the boy beside him to do the same. Soon enough, Minato remembers this intense woman is someone the blonde kicker previously mentioned. Finally, she speaks, guessing he is the new kid. He definitely feels she is not happy to see him. Smiling, the former loser introduces himself. However, she coldly says she does not care to know his name. Threateningly pointing her fork right at him, she vows to use his name only when he actually proves his worth. Training begins. Soon they will handle a prophecy, and she declares Minato will be involved too. In 1945, the very first prophecy book was discovered in Antarctica, buried under 3 kilometers of solid ice retrieved by one man. The title used a creepy, childlike script detailing massive disasters that would completely destroy the world in 80 years. Let that sink in for a second. The big question is, do they believe the prophecies? Minato politely apologizes for shifting topics, still completely clueless about her name. But she coldly says it does not matter, demanding he just answer. He replies it is because those prophecies actually came true, but she sharply says to not play dumb. The lilac-eyed girl warns that if even one came true, the entire world would already be completely wiped out. That terrifying fact scares him. Desperately, Minato asks the blonde exactly how many prophecies exist. Stick with me here. Hiko smiles casually, dropping the number 200, leaving our guy completely terrified. Is the world ending today? Midori quickly steps in to reassure him, explaining the counter-prophecy unit already stopped 180. The mysterious vessel of progenitors brings up people actually believing these prophecies. But then the lilac-eyed girl shifts focus to the crazy explorer who found the ultimate doom book. His name Barnard Russell. She turns and asks the boy if he has any idea what Barnard saw the second he opened that very first page. It left the famous explorer completely wide-eyed. Right there, a personalized greeting waited alongside terrifyingly detailed instructions on exactly how he would discover that very book. Meanwhile, over in Sumida, Tokyo, a medium-sized dimensional rift just opened. The lilac girl casually walks up as shouting cops demand she step back from the restricted zone. Honestly, nobody listens to the authorities right now. Then the mysterious girl mentions World War III starting, plus Dark Moon's secrets, terrible biological threats, and a giant flying tree. All absolute disasters, luckily handled by some seriously high-ranking transcendent heroes. Actually, Midori recently took care of that crazy pandemonium incident. Anyway, this Doom book definitely is not the only prophetic text out there. It simply means every single kind of crazy prophecy actually exists. To gather, analyze, and totally fix them, the counter-prophecy unit was formed and still operates today. They use a job system featuring 4 risk levels. Level 1 handles neighborhood issues, scaling all the way up to literal global emergency annihilation levels. Minato asks if they are visiting the rift to stop another prophecy. The girl casually agrees, calling it a totally normal day for them. Spotting their sudden approach, the suited man alerts Karasagi. He totally assumes these mystery teenagers are just some clueless civilians. The tense man orders them back, stressing the extreme gravity of this wild situation. The girl smoothly explains they are just handling a medium level 3 prophecy today. She claims it is written in the Golden Poetry Anthology, a third-class prophecy book. As the rift suddenly bursts open, absolutely everyone is left startled and totally confused. Instantly vicious. A rank monsters pour right out. Karasagi drops into a combat stance while the man fires a barrier. Unfortunately, humanoid wolves are already causing massive destruction. He quickly realizes this threat might be way too hard for B and C rank members. Plus, this ominous energy gives him a terrible feeling. Now watch closely. To make things worse, the final boss monster is coming and the man just stares at them. To him, these kids look way too calm. Karasagi aggressively insists that clueless civilians should never be here. Completely ignoring him, she summons Trismegistus. Liquid metal wraps around her delicate hand, shifting instantly into multiple sharp blades. The wolves lunge at innocent people, but her vicious spears impale them instantly. After her rapid attack, not a single beast remains standing. Time for the yellow lightning. Hiko starts powerfully kicking absolutely everyone in sight. Totally impressed, Karasagi questions who these mystery kids are. They seem much stronger than him, an S-rank hunter. The purple-eyed girl coldly states that right now he is the civilian here. Spotting their marks, the man suspects they belong to a government group. Suddenly, enormous claws and eyes, way more terrifying than those smaller evil wolves, fiercely emerge straight from the rift. We both know this is bad news. That absolute unit is at least an S-rank monster. It is the wild beast Guile. As they charge, terrified Karasagi tells them to be careful. Everyone attacks the massive monster from different angles. However, Hiko quickly realizes his lightning kicks do zero damage here. He guesses its thick armor perfectly blocks physical hits. Then Giles furiously targets the girl. She expertly uses liquid metal for a shield. Suddenly, Minato appears right in front, radiating a breathtaking aura. The boy uses just one bare hand to block the giant wolf. The raging creature tries overpowering him with pure brute force, but every single frantic attempt just heavily damages its own tough armor instead. A massive explosion hits. This epic clash leaves absolutely everyone totally amazed. It was a close hit. Hiko calmly says that is how it is done. The blonde boy wonders how Minato defeated an S-rank monster using only one blow despite sensing something totally different about his vibe that same morning. Then he realizes the boy has gotten unbelievably stronger than he was just yesterday. But the purple-eyed girl ruins the mood, complaining Minato could have just told them what he was going to do first. The smart boy knows that fighting highly resistant opponents requires gathering inner energy to destroy them from inside. He perfectly learned this exact technique last night alongside Taong the legendary fist. Fist strike remains the most basic punching technique. Minato honestly cannot believe this simple move came in handy so fast. Pausing his deep thoughts, he faces the beautiful girl. Then he smoothly asks if she would not mind sharing her real name, now noting asking for help is easier inside. She cheerfully introduces herself to the new guy as Kong Shinomiya. You and I just witnessed true power. Hiko resumes kicking while the other wolves simply melt from her liquid. Stick with me here. She launches Mercurius Reject. Seeing the blast, the blonde boy admits, Minato was right. Ani totally agrees, realizing that striking these monsters from the inside is way better. Then she calls the rookie. Time to finish this. Karasagi thinks it is pure madness. After all, inside that glowing rift is another dimension. He thinks jumping in is a total fool's errand. But Minato instantly agrees. They rush straight into that fractured dimension, leaving the guy standing there completely frozen. He has never seen a squad like them, guessing they actually belong to that super-secret rumored organization. Suddenly, massive wolves attack. Annie quickly notices they are the exact same beasts from the dimensional rift. Sick of these monsters, she blasts mercury in every direction, shaping the liquid metal into deadly spears. Watching this, Minato is totally blown away by her power. The blonde kid proudly explains that massive area attacks are her ultimate specialty. An even bigger armored wolf drops in. She yells for Hiko, who quickly rushes over to help. Before the beast can strike, he jumps. The boy even mocks it, yelling down from the ceiling. Hiko is insanely fast with his rapid fire. Minato is totally amazed, but now it is his turn. Just like Hiko, he perfectly copies his kicks. The blonde kid is thrilled his buddy can mirror his fighting style. Zero time to waste, so they keep sprinting. Sadly, Ani cannot see ahead, meaning a much bigger threat is definitely coming. Suddenly, the progenitor vessel gets a very weird feeling. He wonders what this massive empty room is for. Watch closely now, something is approaching fast, and just its footsteps make the whole ground shake. Minato yells that it is huge and terrifying. Hiko thinks it is the boss as the monster roars. They are facing a blind, massive S-rank minotaur, looking perfectly calm. Annie simply asks if this is really the boss. Without even waiting for an answer, she summons Tris Majestis. A magic circle traps the minotaur blades, shoot from the light. This is her ultimate Eldorado. She has one strict rule. Against a powerful enemy, she always goes all out and uses her absolute strongest attack immediately. Pinning the boss down as long as she can, she orders the boys to finish it for her. Hiko steps up, wishing he had flashy moves like that. But either way, he is ready and tells her not to worry. Minato watches the duo, but he instantly realizes their type of attack is totally wrong. That makes the blonde kid nervous while Annie defensively asks if he is judging her skill. Suddenly, the Minotaur attacks, proving the rookie might actually be right. The monster's energy blast is completely devastating. One strike destroys the room. Despite their attacks, there is not a single scratch on the beast. We both saw that coming, right? Suddenly, the progenitor speaks up, calling the girl extremely gifted. This totally confuses Minato. Keelik then explains that Ani has it all: magic casting, pinpoint precision, and serious style. He rarely sees such insane talent in someone so young. The alchemist gives her top marks for strategy, noting that normally she would have crushed this enemy with zero effort. But there is one massive flaw. She completely ignored the boss's immunity to physical damage. Minato asks how they can even win now. Instead of lecturing him, the progenitor decides to show off. Down below, Hiko figures out the immunity, making Ani instantly regret not bringing a magic user along. What she did not count on is the progenitor's hidden tricks. Keelik borrows Menato's body to give the girl a proper lesson. Mercurius launches with insane power. The liquid metal coats the monster, trapping it completely in place. That epic display gives the lilac-haired girl absolute chills. She demands to know how Manato hijacked her skill. The controlling alchemist just calls her a fool, bluntly stating that physical attacks are completely useless here. He explains this failure comes from being way too specialized in just one combat style. She has a lot to learn. A true alchemist must master the 3 states of matter and use them all perfectly. Controlling the mercury, he superheats it, literally boiling the giant monster alive like a hot stew. Killick attacks using pure heat instead of force, making that liquid metal boil violently. Thinking it is still Minato, the girl is completely stunned by his insane temperature control. Meanwhile, the alchemist tells Minato he is super impressed by Ain wanting her as a disciple. The monster finally collapses. That is where we leave it. Its mission to fulfill the Golden Poetry Anthology prophecy is completely over. Minato takes in the praise for crushing the Minotaur boss. Mission finally complete. Stick with me here. Ani is absolutely stunned. You see, Transcendents normally only master techniques directly tied to their specific marks. She assumed Minato was just like Heiko. While she zones out, our rookie reaches out. With a cheerful grin, he repeats his name and asks Shinomiya to remember it. She takes it as a slight totally annoying her. Left with 0 choices, she accepts it. Seeing this makes Hiko happy that his partner finally welcomes the new guy to the CPU. Outside, Karasagi and his squad wait until someone spots the rift shutting down. They seriously need answers right now. Boom, Minato suddenly steps right out of the rift. Heko follows and our former underdog tries to give the girl a hand too. The crowd watches in total awe that they actually survived. The rift fades away, leaving just the final mission report. Suddenly, a voice shouts for Minato. It is Karasi deeply thanking him for saving his entire squad. The guy desperately wants to know their identities and what happened inside, even though he figures they probably cannot share those top-secret details. AI steps right up, instructing him to simply draw the symbols when he finally writes his official mission report. That way, nobody will ask annoying questions. He nods, promising to call if it happens again. But the purple-eyed girl says to just relax. This kind of wild event is incredibly rare. She firmly declares they will not meet again, telling Karasi his crew can return to normal life. He laughs, realizing they are the true civilians. Fast forward to May 11th. In a remote cave village, a streak of red lightning blurs past at crazy speeds. Watch closely, something bizarre is starting. Back at CPU headquarters, AAI brings up their paperwork, but Hiko drops a bomb. They are summoned straight to the research lab. Hitting conference room 3, it looks empty at first glance. Something definitely feels off. They spot 2 people and a redhead calls out. He aggressively demands to know why they dragged their feet. Come on, it was just a simple level 3 mission. Minato instantly recognizes him as one of his past observers. He smoothly tells the fiery redhead to just chill out. After all, he is not calling the shots. Cutting the filler, he asks the director why they were dragged here. Curry simply asks them to check a photo from the translation team. Annie squints, asking if that weird dark object is literally a lump of coal. Bam. He reveals it is actually a legendary prophecy book, recovered near an active volcano, making the text incredibly tough to read. Super curious, Minato asks how anyone even decoded it. The boss explains that cutting-edge tech cracked part of the code. It holds massive info, but one specific detail heavily targets Japan. Totally shocked, An asks if this is a brand new prophecy. Our rookie assumes that is normal, but Hiko steps in. This is the first time he has ever seen something like this. You and I both know the CPU gathers intel globally, but an undiscovered prophecy just popping up out of nowhere, that has literally never happened before. Reading the room, Shinji tells the director he figures this 4-person squad is getting sent in to investigate. Nodding, the boss explains the elite strike force would handle the heavy lifting, but they are all swamped with other missions. Since this quirky group is free, he tasks them with scouting the prophecy first, promising an email with all the classified details. What completely shocks Minato is getting tossed straight into another crazy mission immediately. For the veterans, it is just Tuesday. The rookie finally realizes just how insanely demanding this hero gig really is. Anyway, the fiery redhead accepts. Stepping up, he boldly calls the others his underlings, instantly ticking off our purple-eyed heroine. They literally have 0 rating for this prophecy, so they are ordered to play it safe. If things get real, they have to hold out for massive backup. Minad feels pretty nervous about this bizarre, totally unknown assignment. Shija wisely advises everyone to grab some sleep so they do not completely ruin the mission. But Ani snaps back, declaring he is not the boss and she never needs sleep. But the rookie totally disagrees, deciding to catch a quick power nap. Even Hiko backs him up, leaving a very stubborn Ani utterly defeated here. Fighting it, she insists she will stay awake. But yeah, she quickly loses that battle and passes right out. Suddenly, a loud shout jolts An awake, making her hilariously swear she wasn't sleeping at all. She furiously blames Minato for letting her nap, but he just points ahead. There is something way more insane happening right now. Totally lost, she asks what is going on. Massive, eerie red columns surround them. Kiko warns that this is incredibly bad. Trust me, you are not ready for this prophecy to become reality. An gasps. It is the biggest magic circle ever. She realizes those scary pillars must actually hold the remains of the 23 missing villagers. Stick with me. We are diving into a crazy mystery, just like that vanished apartment case where a wild dimensional portal opened. Suddenly, those massive stone columns begin glowing brightly. Aang declares they have zero time to waste, while Heko desperately demands a plan. Grabbing his weapon confidently, Shinki shouts, they must absolutely stop this dark prophecy. However, A quickly reminds him of the director's warning. Behind him, a massive energy surge startles everyone. That incredibly powerful aura comes right from Minato. Smiling cheerfully, the bold boy asks if they are completely ready to begin. The lilac-eyed girl is totally amazed, noting his strength has skyrocketed since this very morning. Seeing his insane power, Shinji declares they cannot wait. Leaping forward fearlessly, he commands them to follow. A canyon does not waste a single second complaining about leadership. Meanwhile, those magical columns emit an incredibly intense shining light. The skilled mage notices it has been quite a while since she smelled this scent. Raichiro completely agrees, remembering sensing this strange aura back when they were alive. A bright red light strikes the tombstone and a glowing hand suddenly rises from the earth. The brave progenitors realize this scent comes from a totally forbidden spell. The prophecy claims the crimson moon will fade as a fearsome beast awakens, and it must be sealed in the underworld. The ultimate transcendent master sorcerer Shijima Bando. After committing terrible acts back in the ancient era, he was finally defeated by a powerful divination priest, his companion. Arriving at a hidden village, he dramatically claims his time is incredibly short. He will sleep for a whole 1,000 years before finally awakening again. He will be totally reborn as the legendary demon king, ruling the entire world and devouring absolutely all life. Before falling, Shijima Bando cast a forbidden spell, sacrificing every creature inside the circle for his own future dark resurrection. Now, pay close attention. Our awesome heroes must completely stop this Book of Hell prophecy and finally face the totally unknown grade boss, Shijima. The dark sorcerer admits he never expected to resurrect with so little magical power, demanding way more sacrifices immediately. He realizes this place is much darker than 1,000 years ago, yet he easily senses fresh prey nearby. He quickly activates the glowing circle of doom, blasting a massive shockwave. Minato yells out in worry, but Pico confidently tells him to completely ignore the other two. It is the brave new guy warning them about underground danger. Nobody even noticed it before, but from a giant magic circle, shadowy hands emerge, quickly capturing them using the snare of the departed ability. Completely trapped our heroes. Wonder how this insane enemy uses so many high-level abilities without any cooldown delay. This sorcerer is insanely powerful and super tough to beat. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, Shijima spots something. Minato fiercely swings at him, but the boss dodges perfectly. The young boy tries using Heiko's awesome attack, but totally misses. The sorcerer claims he sees raw talent, but mocks it as totally undeveloped before quickly trapping the boy in his circle. A blinding flash of light begins. However, the confident boss realizes something is very wrong. Minato smoothly escapes his magical trap using Hadad, a super basic early move. Even so, the powerful sorcerer attempts to defend himself while the boy ends up suspended mid-air. For Shijima, that attack was not bad at all. But either way, Shinji is totally ready to strike now. Moving silently, he grabs his trusty dagger and surprises the boss completely with a beautiful marigold blast. The fearless redhead was incredibly determined. However, Shijima easily dodges and laughs out loud, calling it a total waste. He finds this battle amusing, but the clever boy always knew taking him down requires way more effort, so he unleashes the Autumn Thistle's ability. Utterly amused, the boss happily claims it looks like falling rain, quickly realizing this awesome ability shatters sword beams into rays. Shinji actually holds his solid defense against the fierce strike, totally impressing the magical sorcerer who admits his true strength. You and I both know this boss is absolutely wild. Minato watches closely, realizing this guy is totally different from anyone before. He feels way stronger than the progenitors or even Midori, leaving the brave boy wondering what to do next. Suddenly, someone shouts his name, reminding him about his companions breaking free. A canyon loudly demands that he stop just standing around there. Meanwhile, Shijima Bando strictly commands them to stay back, as he casts several massive glowing magic circles. Horrifying, ravenous bone spirits emerge from the circles, but that is just not enough to stop our awesome heroes. Every single one of these beasts is absolutely terrifying, way stronger than a minotaur. Worse still, there are 3 of them. Minato's hand glows brightly, his expression totally packed with ultimate confidence. Returning to battle, Shijima claims the poor boy fights completely alone, but clearly our awesome redhead does not need any help landing a solid first cut. He proves backup is the absolute last thing needed. But suddenly someone tells him to step back, he can manage alone. The redhead boldly states the only reliable thing is your own personal strength. Laughing out loud, the arrogant boss completely agrees, claiming he does not need anyone else in this world either. The sorcerer decides to devour everyone, unleashing his absolute maximum power, pushed to the limit. Shinji defends with everything. Once again, Minato appears to help him and the void mark shines. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. Come along with me. Shima is absolutely stunned what exactly happened to his bone spirits. While the other two fierce battles rage on, half of the third monster is simply gone. He actually beat it. Plus, he lands a massive hit directly on the boss. The punch is incredibly strong. Shinji is shocked as the boy confidently tells him they need to team up. The evil sorcerer drinks his mysterious liquid. Minato knows they absolutely must work together to take this boss down. The full moon illuminates the epic battle. Shinji stares in total disbelief. Not even Hiko and Ani could clear out those terrifying monsters that fast. With those battles still raging, the redhead simply cannot figure out how the kid did it. Regardless, he completely refuses to team up with anyone. Shinji stubbornly insists he does not need help. He wants to crush the enemy alone. Shima smiles. The dark sorcerer is totally ready for a one-on-one fight. Shinji dodges just in the nick of time. The sorcerer fires his apocalyptic flash attack. Minato gets blasted away, leaving Shijima laughing like an absolute maniac. Right then, Shinji seizes the perfect opening to strike back. The boss's immense power completely wrecks the area. Minato clearly takes a massive hit and struggles to recover from that devastating, unbelievable blow. Suddenly, he wakes up somewhere else entirely. Rikiro explains that since he blacked out, they used the chance to instantly summon his spirit there. Minato tries to speak up, but intense pain stops him completely. Pay close attention here. He wants to rejoin the fight, but his masters actually demand he stop fighting immediately. That totally catches him off guard. Back outside, the wild clash continues. Shima mocks the redhead for being exactly like him, deeply worrying Sheen since he lacks the sheer strength needed. The wicked sorcerer completely agrees he should not drag anyone else into this, so he plans to finish him solo. The boss launches heavier attacks, making everything way harder for the struggling swordsman. He powers up his glowing blade, then launches another desperate strike at the enemy. Shujima laughs, claiming he has not had fun like this in centuries. Shinji is giving it his all. Meanwhile, Raikiro explains that while the redhead outclasses Hiko and a cannon, he is nothing compared to the dark sorcerer. Right now, the kid truly has zero chance. The mage reveals the enemy is casting a highly advanced, totally forbidden spell, known to them as resurrection. If this epic fight happened inside a super-crowded city, he would have absorbed enough souls to become the demon king. Taking Minato's soul makes him unstoppable, so she warns the boy to only focus on minimizing the boss's massive destruction. They never saw this mysterious new prophecy coming. It was pure chance that Minato was assigned to handle this massive threat. Ryoro begs to take over his body to fight for him, but Minata completely refuses. The brave kid declares this is not training but a real high-stakes battle. He firmly believes that future challenges will absolutely not be perfectly tailored just for his specific strengths. Flashing a confident smile, the brave kid asks his amazing masters for confirmation. The mage still desperately wants him to stay back from danger. However, Raoro's laughter breaks his companion's resolve since he knows the kid is absolutely right. After all, his ultimate dream is surpassing all the legendary progenitors. So the proud swordsman shows full support, telling his apprentice to go all out. Ryu intensely advises him to use every learned skill and stop the dark sorcerer entirely. Minata fiercely promises he will do exactly that. The kid turns to face the legendary progenitors. He swears he will never disappoint his amazing masters. Sprinting off, he is visibly hyped for the fight. Raikiro is absolutely thrilled by his incredible fiery determination. I know what you are thinking. In the ongoing clash, Shima ruthlessly mocks his opponent for being empty-handed. Then he seizes the exact moment to land a brutal hit. Shinji leaps away to escape massive damage, but the confident sorcerer dramatically declares the end is here. No matter what happens, the fiery redhead absolutely refuses to give up. He seriously wonders if this is truly his final stand. Suddenly, someone grabs his blade, catching him totally off guard. It is Minato casually asking to borrow the weapon for just a quick minute. Shinji just wants to understand this wild new guy's deal. He literally keeps surprising him at every single turn. Minato builds intense momentum as he hits the ground. Meanwhile, the evil Shima Bando is preparing his next heavy attack. Firing the apocalyptic flash ray, Minato perfectly executes the Hinky-style sword technique. He is totally ready to play another brilliant ace up his sleeve. Using the Seedorm / ability, the two huge energy blasts are about to brilliantly collide. This kid's power is insanely impressive, making the ancient sorcerer question what it even is. He demands to know his identity, so our newcomer proudly introduces himself. He is Menado Kanagi, the hero who will soon surpass all legendary progenitors. The swordsman quickly questions the mage, and she asks if he wants her honest prediction on the winner. For her, it is incredibly hard to say since all they can do is watch. But to Reichiro, Minato is definitely no fool. He seriously wonders if the boy learned something fresh while doing his crazy sleep training inside the car. Trust me, you will want to see this. Smiling big, he trusts his apprentice's epic plan as Minato fiercely pushes forward. Shinji watches the rookie charging the enemy head-on. The world's strongest future transcendent unleashes incredibly rapid sword strikes. Stick with me because even the sorcerer is wondering who this kid really is. Shinji remembers that overconfident rookie wanting to team up, but our arrogant redhead made it totally clear he fights solo. Honestly, that just seriously annoys him, but right now all he can do is watch. Meanwhile, Minato stays tough, battling the big boss. Boom, crimson orbs appear. It is the sorcerer's forbidden pomegranate ability. The kid actually dodges the blasts, but suddenly the energy totally redirects to chase him down. Minato realizes these homing attacks will not stop until they hit, so he just stops right in front of the blasts. The kid is cooking up a wild strategy. Tak Wong watches, feeling super proud. After all, his awesome student trained endlessly with him. Minato slams his foot down, ready for Stomp Smash, instantly raising a massive stone shield. He completely blocks the crimson blasts, though the boss thinks he is a total fool for hiding behind rocks. But Minato stays sharply alert to every single thing around him. He creates even more barriers for defense. The heavy impact kicks up a massive smoke cloud, yet Shijima is seriously impressed because this former underdog is still standing perfectly tall. He remembers Irson's teachings perfectly, using that clever footwork technique combined with a blinding light reflection. He smoothly slips right behind the giant boss. Minato wastes 0 time swinging his blade and landing a solid hit on the sorcerer. Shijima Bando absolutely cannot believe how ridiculously strong this kid is. Switching tactics, the boss unleashes Circle of Doom. He turns his back as absolute chaos erupts, but Minato amazingly manages to break right out of it. He definitely cannot forget his basics, meaning he has to use every single thing he learned. He charges in for a direct attack, smoothly dodging the sorcerer's counter, but it was much more than just a dodge. He scored another hit in the process. Although Shijima thinks his individual moves are pretty cool, he still believes the kid lacks the raw power to be a true threat. Now watch closely because he genuinely wants to see how many abilities this kid has. Meanwhile, the progenitors are watching closely, analyzing the boy's tactics that were originally designed for mindless monsters, not intelligent sorcerers. They completely never expected him to level up this fast. She stays laser-focused on her pupil, battling their former ally. Shijima Bando finally admits the kid is highly entertaining, but now he unleashes a forbidden spell that puts the progenitors on massive high alert. A Kaonite fighting the bone monster suddenly senses something very strange. Something absolutely massive drops into the middle of the battlefield, leaving her completely terrified. A giant 3-headed skull glows with dark magic. The sorcerer thanks Minato for all the fun, but bluntly says he is just not good enough. So their epic clash ends right here. His panicked masters beg him to run away, but he just stands totally frozen, hearing those exact same words that haunted him forever, that he is weak. Minato knows it is true because even going all out, his current strength cannot defeat this guy right now. So he desperately tries to think of something pushing way beyond everything to completely shatter his own limits. Flashback time. The mage suggests teaching him magic, starting with the exact basic spell he needs today. It is called Jera, creating a tiny flame. The kid's hand perfectly lights up Hananoi style, is totally about flashy appearances and powerful strikes. Meanwhile, Sea Storm Slash is a technique for slicing straight through enemies. Swinging the blade down on his opponent, he cannot show any hesitation or fear, focusing purely on their life force. With his other hand, Minato firmly holds the sword. I know what you are thinking. The guy who was once a loser is now glowing with epic flames. Not even the mage can believe this magic. Raikiro is also completely blown away by what he sees. Shijima Bando must brace himself for everything coming his way. This incredibly new technique invented by Minato Kani will absolutely someday earn its own legendary name, the Shimmering Slash. The shocked sorcerer gets struck instantly through his massive bone shield. The world's strongest transcended future hero is finally no longer weaker than his opponent. Minato paid close attention to what his master taught him about totally different types of strength. Raikiro explained that it actually appears differently to everyone, just like a very thin thread. All it wants to do is slice through the tightly pulled section, so he asks Matada to specifically describe exactly what he is seeing right now. The kid is totally locked in, desperately trying to pinpoint Shima Bando's fading life force. Through the storm / Manhwa spots a dark, frighteningly hazy flame lamp surrounded by shadows. Now he refuses to be consumed because his own blazing flame is immensely stronger. He unleashes his shimmering slash, completely shattering the giant bone monster and splitting the sorcerer's magic. This leaves his masters totally amazed because Minato just pulled off something incredibly impressive. He flawlessly combined sword skills with magic. The alchemist totally startles his companions, jumping with pure excitement at finding all this incredibly fascinating. So what do we learn here? Minato's ultimate strength is flawlessly switching between epic techniques whenever absolutely needed. Stick with me, you and I are about to see just how many wild possibilities actually open up. Rukro finds his new partner quite unusual, but our mage remembers he is an alchemist. If he is right, their entire impression of the student was totally wrong. She wonders if teaching Manado is smart, but the swordsman is absolutely positive it is. They must see his true limits. Meanwhile, the boy looks exhausted. The sorcerer was literally sliced apart. But wait. That weird fluid bubbles up and his missing half instantly regrows. Just a brief moment. Shijimabando openly admits that losing his head would mean game over, especially after being caught totally off guard like that. That mistake will not happen twice. He never expected Shinji and his wild Kamaleas to strike so fast. Shima completely forgot him while enjoying the intense fight with Manano. But our redhead returns. He bravely pulls his tired friend from the fight. The sorcerer simply watches Shinji defend the totally knocked out Manado. His face changes instantly. A painful memory hits him. Hara, coughing in his arms, sparks deep worry. Asking if he feels cold, he begs Haru to hold on until morning. It won't be long. Shima promises to find food at sunrise, but Haru gives literally zero reaction. Absolutely terrified, the young man calls out. The cart rolls on. Shijima desperately tries shielding himself from the freezing cold with anything available. Those travelers are actually bursting with joy. The young man wonders why they suffer alone. Living solo might seem completely freeing, but it is just so lonely. Shujima vanishes like falling snow. Now pay attention, our redhead finally realizes he is never truly alone, even if flying solo feels perfectly fine. Suddenly a dark feeling hits him. Taiko and An sprint toward their teammate while the girl shouts. She frantically asks if Minata is breathing. Shinji calmly confirms the rookie is not badly hurt. The lilac-eyed girl sighs with relief. Heiko smiles, seeing everyone safe, but it is way too early for celebrating. He points at the massive barrier collapsing on them. It is huge enough to swallow the village. If that energy explodes, they will be completely wiped out. Shinji wants to use abilities to cancel it. Running on fumes success seems impossible, but giving up not an option for these friends. Just give it everything. Minato returns sword ready. Shinji notices the rookie waking up radiating a chillingly calm aura. But the boy is definitely not in control. He rests after crushing that fight, keeping his promise to his mentors. They are so proud. Meanwhile, that massive shield keeps violently cracking. Together, the Transcendent team unleashes power. Reiki sparks the epic Hinoi Cloudbeam sword technique. Someone sprints from afar, asking the boss what is happening. The barrier is breaking. You and I both thought it was over, right? But wait! Through the chaos, a blinding light suddenly erupts from Minato, growing completely massive. A massive sword explosion. Captain Makoto of the SU unit of Counter-Prophecy spots it. Makoto is stunned. Who is this? What absolute beast is capable of pulling this off? Midori, flying over Peru, finds it absolutely wonderful that the young CPU rookies crushed a new prophecy entirely by themselves. Meanwhile, in Japan, Makoto mentions the brass called it a level 2 threat. Honestly, it felt like level 1. Smiling, the blonde admits he is impressed. Midori agrees they have leveled up massively since last time. The captain points out the one person who truly carried this entire insane mission. Definitely Minata. The rookie who joined the CPU days ago. He heard the blonde was the person who recruited this beast. The current strongest transcendent just smiles at that question, suddenly super curious about our overpowered boy. Is he the one destined to end the prophecy? Midori firmly believes Manado is the guy. Nakato laughs at putting blind faith in a rookie. The blonde dares him to go check the kid out. The captain just wants him back at base. It is way too boring without anyone to fight. Meanwhile, Ren handles the boring paperwork, but ahead an emergency-level prophecy is waiting. When skies darken, they face a plague-spreading boss XJB. The plane approaches, making this creature snap her eyes wide open. The aircraft blasts right through the barrier. Midori tells her partner to hold on while she swats a tiny annoyance with turbulence. Everything stays blurry until Minato finally opens his eyes. A relieved nurse smiles. The boy asks where he is. She confirms it is the CPU infirmary. So what do you and I make of this? Minato was completely knocked out. Let's see what happens next. All right, you and I are jumping right back into the madness. Minato finally reaches the progenitors. The woman is super glad he is safe, offering full support. Spotting Shinji, Minato blinks. Has he been standing right there the entire time? Glancing around, he searches for Hiko and Akane. Shinji quickly explains those two have been training relentlessly since they got back. Shinji admits they are super frustrated they could not help out more during the fight. Honestly, no one expected the ultimate reveal that the rookie was basically next level. Minato asks him to just listen. But Shinji cuts him off. He just wants answers. In only 2 days, Minato took down a level 3 boss and another absolute beast pushing level 1. His crazy mix of abilities makes no sense at all. Shinji has never seen or heard of anything like this in his life. The redhead demands to know his true identity. But then, shockingly, Shinji asks the real question. How can he become strong like the rookie? But suddenly, the intense moment shatters. The captain appears at the door asking to step inside for a second. They are totally caught off guard. The captain asks if he is Minato Kanagi. Stammering nervously, our progenitor vessel confirms it is him. Shinji cheerfully calls the man brother, but the captain completely ignores him, walking right past with only a cold glance from the corner of his eye. Shinji looks crushed. Minato caught that brother comment, but pay attention here. Out of nowhere, Makoto draws his sword and launches a fierce attack. The younger brother is left totally confused, but the captain absolutely knows what he is doing. Moving with lightning speed, Minato quickly defends himself. He instantly asks if this is some kind of crazy test. Makoto knows most normal trainees would never dodge a strike like that. He smiles, telling the rookie he is totally right and just passed his test. This huge reveal surprises the boy completely. The captain finally introduces himself properly, and the only thing Minato can focus on is their shared last name. So that is exactly why Shinji called him brother. Since he defeated the last boss, Makoto invites Minato to temporarily join his elite unit. This massive offer instantly grabs Shinji's full attention. It is incredibly weird. His older brother, a real captain, came personally for the rookie, even though he never lets Shinji go on active missions. Minato feels completely torn between listening to Makoto's offer and worrying nervously about Shinji. Pure anger washes over the younger brother, blaming Minato. Meanwhile, down in the training room, Hiko and Akane are pushing through incredibly intense practice. The two are pushing past their absolute limits, desperately wondering what the purpose behind all this madness is. Annoyed, the exhausted girl complains they will never catch up at this rate. Hiko completely agrees they are struggling until someone suddenly arrives and totally shifts the vibe. The superstar smiles brightly, saying it is truly great to see them so full of energy. Midori is back. He cheerfully offers them exotic fruit chocolates from Peru and shows off the awesome new alpaca rugs he just received. Hilariously, all those gifts are instantly swept away by a strong gust of wind. While running, Akane asks about his stay in Japan, and he says roughly a week. She boldly asks if he can make them stronger. They do not want Minato's insane power to leave them in the dust ever again. That totally catches Midori by surprise. It has been a while since he saw them acting this determined. We both see the impact Minato has, right? He lit a real fire inside them. Smiling, Midori completely agrees and asks Shinji for his exact thoughts. The redhead promises they can completely count on him. Meanwhile, Minato sprints to catch up with the captain. He is incredibly surprised by how wildly things are unfolding today. Shinji absolutely refuses to let the rookie steal all the spotlight. This unexpected confession shocks everyone in the room. The redhead reveals his brother visited Minato just moments ago, actually inviting the talented rookie to join their elite unit as a temporary member. But only Midori genuinely understands the reason behind this. Meanwhile, Shinji fiercely blames himself for letting Minato get so far ahead. Chasing the captain down, Minato asks what exactly they need to discuss. The older man mentions tomorrow's mission, then suddenly stops in his tracks and calls his name. Makoto asks if he and his brother are close. They have only known each other for 2 days, but Minato feels they bonded after defeating Shijima Bando together. With a huge smile, Minato confirms it. That is all he needed to hear. Sadly, the younger brother truly believes his sibling does not care about what he does or what even happens to him. Makoto is deeply concerned about Shinji. The younger one just remembers that in the infirmary, his brother barely even glanced his way. The truth, the captain could hardly look at him because of how insanely severe his injuries were. Shinji insists the only possible way to earn his brother's attention is by getting as strong as humanly possible, even if it literally costs him his own life. Makoto does not care if his little brother is not the world's strongest warrior. He honestly just wants to keep him completely safe. Minato warmly replies he also cares about him. Shinji fiercely promises to surpass the rookie and earn his brother's absolute respect. While Makoto just wants to keep him safe, the younger sibling desperately wants to protect him instead. Smiling, Minato thinks having a brother must be really nice. So what do you and I make of this Akane and Hiko joke about how tough it is reading their teammate's mind, especially regarding his brother's approval? She once asked if he hated his brother. Come along with me, the redhead actually respects him completely. The girl claims he just wants Makoto to notice him. Ho finds that adorable, while Shinji trains absolutely desperately right now. The Su unit follows 3 main rules. Primarily speed, never hesitating in combat, and overcoming weakness through intense physical mastery. This elite 7-member squad only handles grade 1 prophecies or higher, completely earning their absolutely legendary reputation among everyone. But one member jokingly admits the captain actually does 90% of the work, treating the rest like simple assistants. Another tip reminds him to stay completely chill, as a temporary member simply letting Makoto powerfully handle every single thing. Taru tells him to drop the phone and focus, but he desperately needs to message the others since everyone keeps bothering him, constantly begging for an immediate reply right now. Hiko finally receives a reply from Minato, and the lilac-eyed girl gets one too, looking pretty annoyed. Even the blonde looks totally stunned. Shinji absolutely hates the rookie's message, while Midori calmly tries figuring out their exact problem. These incredible messages contain brilliant personalized tips on leveling up their power, leaving Midori completely surprised. He sent highly detailed advice perfectly customized to each member's unique strengths, teaching them things he never even explained. He genuinely praises Minato for generously sending this crucial intel. His teammates feel massively inspired, instantly eager to practice absolutely every single tip right away. Still, Shinji vows to make the rookie regret helping a rival, even though Morura cheerfully reminds him they're friends. Taru loudly announces they can finally look outside. Minato quickly wipes the foggy window to catch an epic clear view. It looks absolutely harsh, packed with massive ice spikes. Now pay attention, they must conquer the Grade 1 prophecy called Snowball Earth, because a massive sheet of growing ice currently threatens to relentlessly freeze every single surrounding area. If they fail to eliminate this threat, the prophecy clearly warns the entire planet will quickly freeze over very soon. This exact disaster is happening in 17 other places worldwide. In several regions, the frost has already devastated major cities. The sub-captain explains Japan's outbreak began in the mountains. It's aggressively spreading far faster than predicted, meaning they simply cannot waste a single second here. Makoto firmly states the helicopter genuinely cannot fly any closer than this. Because of this, they must jump from the rear hatch entirely solo. Their ultimate priority is fiercely protecting nearby civilians from taking any harm whatsoever. The captain commands the Sioux unit to recite their unbreakable rules. Rule number 1, epic speed is essential for survival. Rule 2, never ever hesitate striking, and 3, utterly crush all personal weakness. During that crazy past battle, his mentor heavily assisted him toward the end. Today's mission is his perfect chance to directly study absolute elite warriors in combat. This time, Minato feels absolutely certain he'll win without any outside help. It's his next massive evolutionary leap, tackling his first level 1 prophecy. That previous mission was a harsh lesson and unforgettable disappointment. By 10:17 a.m., the elite unit powerfully touches down. Takeru shivers immensely, questioning why supposedly transcendent beings aren't naturally resistant to freezing temperatures like this. Mana casually notes it's minus 37 degrees colder than expected. Investigating this massive area definitely means they must find a solid spot to safely camp overnight. The captain seems highly concerned about everything. Minato asks his teammate if this specific prophecy was actually written down in the book too. Shaking his head, the blonde explains an elite member with incredible foresight practically issued a major warning beforehand. I know what you're thinking. Unexpected quests happen constantly, but this is the first level 1. Interrupting their chat, the sub-captain asks if the rookie is nervously sweating. She mentions it's definitely better than lowering his guard, though absolutely nothing should truly worry him here. Taru tells him to totally relax since Japan has 8 elite units, but Sue actually cleared most of the legendary level 1 prophecies alone. This seriously annoys Mana, arguing that totally doesn't mean the boy should sit around acting useless. The blonde quickly apologizes, stating his radar just sensed real enemy activity. Minato watches this epic ability, feeling extremely impressed. Meanwhile, Taru casually notes enemies are 200 meters away at 2 o'clock. Simply knowing that the confused rookie wonders where everyone vanished, Mana suddenly flanks the captain with wild news. They're facing 30-ish high-grade monsters, a whole terrifying pack of ice gargoyles. Makoto ruthlessly orders everyone to exterminate the creatures. His squad immediately attacks. They dive straight into battle against these ice monsters while Minato watches the sheer madness in awe. He clearly notices their insane speed in analyzing the battlefield and launching perfectly coordinated attacks, vastly outperforming normal trainees. They might constantly joke around off-duty, but their legendary power proves exactly why they rank first. Minato eagerly asks the commanding captain what his specific role should be today. The captain feels fully confident Minato can easily destroy an S+ monster, boldly telling him to join this fight. We know what's next. With his powerful aura, Kanagi is ready to dominate. Stick with me. We are diving right into the action. Minato rushes his first enemy, crushing it with one stomp, but the sub-captain warns the distracted rookie to focus. These monsters are seriously tough. To handle them, Minato unleashes his new shimmering slash ability, striking the icy gargoyle right in front of him until flames completely consume it. Takeru glances around to see who launched that attack. Turning back, he spots Minato. The blazing flaming sword completely surprises him. Mana smiles mid-battle while red lightning bolts flash everywhere. Now the mighty captain jumps into action, smashing absolutely everything to pieces, and he blasts another snow pile. Safely inside their shelter, the sub-captain demands a status report from Takeru. But Takeru sees nobody, and cannot even sense a boss within 10 meters. Mana decides they must securely camp there for the night, and she asks exactly where Minato and the captain are. The rookie looks totally thoughtful, remembering that intense clash with Shima Bando, where he finally learned the trick to combining his abilities. Now he wonders if he could combine moves with others too, and honestly, he probably can. He tries focusing, totally confident he will master it. Suddenly, Makoto pops up asking if he is training hard, startling the distracted boy. Curious, the redhead asks if it is his first camping trip, and Monado confirms. Makoto genuinely hopes it is not too exhausting for him. The man reveals he really wants to go home right now, leaving the rookie completely curious. Makoto says he really misses the smell, and Minato finishes his thought. He misses the smell of home when he is away, but actually it is just the smell of his cat. The captain desperately wants to see his big furry animal. You and I both know Minato is shocked, realizing Makoto means his cat. The curious rookie starts firing off several questions about the animal. The captain then eagerly prepares to show pictures of his pet. Minato gets heavily startled because the man practically teleported right next to him. Either way, the boy finds the little beast adorable, asking its name. Makoto says it is Orbi Mongju. The rookie says the cat looks a little grumpy in the photos, asking if the animal actually really likes him. Makoto admits his clothes are always covered in fur, he gets scratched, and the cat hates being held. The captain says it almost reminds him of Shenny, and that is why he finds it so amazingly cute. He truly hopes that one day he and his brother can be like that too. Minato is not quite sure what to say. After all, he is an only child lacking experience with that. He strongly suggests the captain treat his brother exactly the same way he treats Orurid Miju, leaving his superior speechless for a few seconds. Then Makoto smiles, agreeing it is not a bad idea. Looking back at the phone, Manado finds a video of the cat, and his eyes widen upon hearing the captain use a cutesy voice with the animal. In the video, the man even calls him little baby while giving him a snack. Minato says it sounds like he is talking to a human baby and asks if he should talk like that to Shinji too. Makoto playfully asks the boy if he can practice that tone on him for just 1 minute, but is completely denied. Mana finally finds them, suggesting he go back to get some sleep since they will be waking up extremely early the next day. The captain agrees, leaving the woman entirely speechless when he playfully calls her widow Mana. Pay attention here that night without the unit knowing someone is secretly heading right toward them. Someone comes running to warn the person that dressing like that will definitely freeze him entirely. The man asks if he is a transcendent on a local mission. The blonde confirms his strict mission is ensuring this wild prophecy completely comes true. A mysterious transcendent approaches the snowy mountain where Manado and the others camp. Once Kaji falls asleep, the intense night training begins, and this time it is finally a lesson with the archer. MJF asks Manado if he feels tired, but he purposefully saved this training for last because his focus typically tends to naturally weaken. Meanwhile, Raichiro loudly complains about why they are not having a sword fight. Mel's reminds him he did that exactly the day before. The archer is impressed that the boy is not distracted by the noise around him, noting his focus has improved a lot. Minato says he honestly hopes so. Hopes. After all, he is on a mission with an incredible, exceptional team. That is why he wants to give his best. Minato finally fires the arrow. The arrow hits the target. Mulgith is impressed by the beautiful shot. The progenitor tells him never to forget that feeling, deciding to formally end the training. Immediately, the shocked swordsman asks if it is already over. Until Minato wakes up, they will keep practicing. So Reiro happily tells him to rise and shine. In the morning, the rookie is the only one who seems not to have rested. Either way, the captain asks if they are completely ready. Minato is already intensely focused on everything he says. Their epic mission is to find and defeat the boss of the prophecy. It is the second day of Snowball Earth. Tirku spots 20 enemies 150 meters ahead. The strict order is to split up and surround the creatures. The monsters are bluebirds estimated at grade S++ on the big screen. The wise progenitors quietly watch what happens. So what do you think? Ear calls the mission easy, and Lilac says these skilled warriors are in absolutely zero danger. We will see. Let's jump into this. The mage asks the old man what is wrong. Known as the Hand of God, he is still not sure. But for some wild reason, his heart trembles with a very strange sensation. The sub-captain confirms the monsters are eliminated, and the man asks Takaru if he feels anything. He detects extremely intense energy waves and quickly realizes that the big boss is finally arriving here. The blonde counts down 10 agonizing seconds until the creature appears. At 0, a massive muscular monster with 4 arms appears holding swords in every single hand. Boasting an unknown grade, Carmise is a secret god. Mana notices her aura is completely different from normal monsters. The strict order is for absolutely everyone to attack her immediately. The giant woman's hands are tightly bound using energy. That is step 1. Step 2. Mana unleashes her sword. Step 3, the mage activates his magic circle, and together they flawlessly combine their powerful attacks. Even after all that chaos, she does not have a single scratch. Following the rule to never hesitate, the brave members just keep aggressively attacking. Minato remembers his master's words. He must never show fear, focusing strictly on the enemy's raw life force. He recalls a king's advice. When facing a powerful enemy, use your absolute strongest attack right from the start, leaving absolutely nothing for later. And that is exactly what he can do right now. He strikes the monster with a shimmering slash, but he is totally shocked by the result. It honestly did not even cause any damage. Minato gets attacked by her, and the boss is even more furious. Worried, Takaru asks if Minato is okay. The boy would have been in serious trouble without that handy ice pillar. Mana can't believe her insane strength, realizing this crazy creature must be the reason the dark prophecy is ranked at level 1. The woman loudly calls for the captain. Watch closely here. She needs him to handle this monster, which is zero problem for Makoto. Takaru drags the rookie away, saying he will just block the captain's path. The four-armed creature keeps relentlessly attacking, using her giant swords to create a massive snowstorm. Minato shouts for his brave captain while being pulled away. Carmesi seems totally confused after her strike is stopped by a tiny blade tip. The man calls the creature pretty strong. Minato is stunned by Makoto's power, though his members consider it completely normal. Regardless, Makoto is finally there to face the exact thing that could make the prophecy happen. He defends himself gracefully with his sword. She only has 2 working arms left. Raichiro watches the fight totally impressed. He says Makoto is great for a modern transcendent and hopes to fight him one day. The captain wanted the other unit members to defeat her for the combat experience, but now he has to handle this boss alone. Darkness falls around the members because Makoto unleashes his epic ability, Imperial Crimson Dragon. A flame so powerful it burns everything, followed by a huge red light blast. It sends fire against ice, sweeping away all the snow in its path. Minato just watches, so purely amazed his jaw practically drops. Carmese is completely swallowed up. You saw that too, right? The rookie remains in awe of the flaming sword. Even crazier, it is way stronger than his own power. Without the shield, they would be ash. Makoto does not even have a single speck of dirt on his suit. Minato notices Makoto's fighting style is completely different from Raichiro's. From his footwork to his breathing, Minato feels like he is absolutely nowhere near that legendary level yet. The boy thinks it is incredible. He finally found a master to learn from. Regardless, the entire squad celebrates the monster's defeat. Minato is enchanted by everything he just witnessed, but the mission is not over. The captain senses something is incredibly wrong. A small hole appears where he is looking, striking his comrade Takeru. Finally, young Minato quickly realizes exactly what just happened. Apparently, the blonde was not the only victim caught. Meanwhile, Minato gets pulled into the dark void. He runs to help his teammate. The blonde calls him a total fool, forcefully pushing the boy away. Minato is utterly horrified by everything happening. As he falls down, Takeru wonders how this happened. After all, this sneaky attack did not even trigger his radar. His vision fades, but he still sees his captain. He apologizes for what just happened, but Makoto says it is okay. Takeru knows Makoto is brilliant and will easily find the enemy. He then collapses straight into the snow-covered ground. The captain watches this, barely holding back his heavy emotions. He is the next target. Seeing his soldiers in danger, Makoto takes charge, yelling for everyone to take cover. They are under attack by an unknown ability, catching several people off guard on the battlefield. The sub-captain is furious over her comrades being eliminated. Suddenly, someone notices something wrong with Makoto. Part of his arm is missing. He could not even block it with a shield, suspecting it is a terrifying ability that completely annihilates everything it ever touches. The brave captain senses something coming. Using his speed is the smartest choice. That is where we leave it. Mana watches, deeply worried about Makoto. Stick with me here. The shredded boss is regenerating every piece it lost. She asks Minato if he can stand because they must crush this 4-armed monster themselves. Glancing back, she notices the boy seems totally off. The rookie kneels there, gazing far beyond the horizon. Minato calls out to the apothecary Warrantine. He desperately begs her to heal everyone and bring them back, but the progenitor seriously regrets her next words. It is simply impossible to grant his request because no ability exists that can heal bodies so heavily shattered. Even so, he hears the painful truth in her voice. Still, he summons Raikiro Takwang and Irsen aloud. The swordsman stands there listening. During that crazy battle with the sorcerer, Raikiro actually helped him win. After that, he swore he would finish the next mission without relying on the progenitors. Minato truly hates asking, but he absolutely needs his strength. The swordsman agrees to help his student, seeing how hopelessly lost the boy looks today. As always, his hair completely transforms under the progenitor's glowing aura. Nobody could have bypassed Takaru's radar, which scans a 3.2-kilometer radius. This means the strike definitely came from much farther away. A single brutal hit pierced his arm and his soldier's body. In other words, this enemy stood in a perfect direct line with both of them. Makoto had been suppressing his real power during missions, giving his fellow unit members a solid chance to learn and grow. But now he scans the whole area at top speed with his unbelievably sharp vision. Watch closely because in seconds he spots the enemy hiding behind obstacles over 3 meters away. It is that exact same stranger from last night. So many great teammates are gone now, like Takeru Hiso, the cat lover Kuis, and even poor Moromi. But the captain firmly vows their deep sacrifices will never be in vain. He unleashes his massive red light blast attack. Another massive shot is about to fire. The enemy admits he never expected the redhead to track and counterattack so fast, proving he truly is exceptional, just like rumors say. But Makoto is also perfectly amazed he neutralized his slash and fire blast. The blonde casually claims he probably would be defeated already if he still had his left arm. Either way, he is purely here to deliver darkness, adding that discussing things that never happened is totally pointless. So he simply wishes for the captain's downfall. Makoto swings his sword to unleash a chilling ice wave, making his enemy hesitate. It is a perfect distraction to strike from behind, but as he goes for a lightning-quick slash, his blade shatters completely. Darkness just smiles, bragging that he predicted that exact move. He claims the redhead is one step closer to ruin. This instantly fuels the captain's burning rage even more, launching another desperate attack with absolutely everything he has. But the blonde just smirks at the attempt, reminding him it would never work, before kicking right where he is injured. Still holding his ground, Makoto fiercely asks if he is sure. The captain lands a fierce hit directly on his opponent's chest circle. He is thrown backward, and the blonde asks why he was kicked instead of crushed. Makoto remembers that when they were heavily attacked, he stopped after a few attempts. You and I both know this power seems capable of erasing absolutely anyone, but he highly doubts it lacks limits, smartly deducing the ability consumes massive energy like all others. The blonde smoothly admits he is technically right, but that still does not make them equals, stating Makoto is undeniably much weaker than him right now. The captain angrily repeats that exact word. Makoto remembers his fallen team before coming to this ruined place, declaring that the special unit has 3 strict rules that are absolutely never ever broken. He executes rule number 3, igniting his powerful flame, leaving the enemy totally shocked. He cauterized his wound. Makoto shows him exactly why he leads the most feared command unit division. Every single weakness must be completely overcome utilizing the Imperial Crimson Dragon Forbidden Sacrificial Flame Blast right now. The blonde arrogantly asks if he is truly risking everything right now. He casually offers to help him fade away, but Makoto refuses to let his men worry because he will absolutely never let his team down. With intense eyes blazing like wildfire, the captain warns him never to underestimate the special unit. Now back to the surviving members of the team. Karme is fully restored and seriously furious while Mana feels totally powerless. She calls out for Minato, wondering if Makoto was completely wrong about him. After all, the boy seems utterly shattered after seeing what happened to his teammates. She assumes it is just painful rookie shock. But suddenly something incredible shifts in his eyes. Minato starts to stand and a completely terrifying aura awakens deep inside him. Before she can even shout his name, something insanely fast blasts right past her. The giant boss is shredded by one single devastating kick. Irsen is now in full control of the body. Mana watches in absolute shock. Meanwhile, Minato just steps forward like nothing matters except keeping everyone alive. For that, the legendary progenitors will totally take over from here on out. And this is where we leave it. The captain continues his epic battle, firing pure flames of fury even with a broken sword. Absolute madness. Stick with me here. The blonde dodges desperately, but it is incredibly difficult. Even striking from far away, Makoto's blast curves right past his defense, locking onto him. Controlling that shadow energy has limits, so left with absolutely zero options, the desperate blonde goes all out and summons a massive swarm of dark orbs. Makoto analyzes every single move, spotting a perfect opening. Boom! The captain instantly slices the enemy's arm clean off. Makoto mocks him, saying the tables have finally turned, but the blonde just smirks back and asks if that is really it. A brutal counterattack lands right on the captain. Makoto literally gasps from the massive, heavy impact. The villain laughs, asking if chopping one arm actually changed anything. He reminds Makoto not to forget about the massive hole blown right through his ally's stomach. He perfectly predicted that going all out with shadow energy would bait Makoto into close range. He admits Makoto is incredibly powerful, praising the captain for his sharp decisions and flawless, efficient moves. But ultimately, Makoto is way too predictable, and that exact flaw means he will never actually win. The captain listens, visibly exhausted from battle. Then the blonde casually reveals Makoto was completely doomed from day one. He points to the book he is holding. Makoto stares in absolute shock. That is the literal book of prophecy. The shadowy villain smirks while reading mentioning how there is an entire group trying to stop these prophecies. He asks, wouldn't it be natural for someone else to make them come true? Another insane revelation hitting the captain. Now pay close attention here. He officially introduces himself as 12 of Darkness, a disciple of the apocalypse who will personally guarantee this dark prophecy becomes absolute reality. Makoto angrily demands why he wants this. 12 jokes about getting mercy for sharing the truth, but the furious captain instantly cuts him off, demanding he stop speaking total nonsense. That last attack almost took his head clean off, but Makoto firmly believes victory is still totally possible. He realizes the villain burned through all his mana and is incredibly weak. This is the perfect opening to finish the fight with a smile. 12 casually agrees it looks like the end. Then he downs a mysterious vial. Suddenly, a blinding flash of intense white light completely blinds Makoto, masking everything happening. He just feels a devastating punch crush his face, sending him flying. Makoto is completely stunned. How is that possible? He literally chopped that right arm off. Well, that vial was an artifact. 12 explains it is an insanely rare relic, which is exactly why he hesitated using it. Makoto totally ignores him, blasting furious flames forward as 12 desperately counters with heavy dark energy. The captain remains absolutely shocked that the severed arm fully regenerated. He questions how they even possess such dangerous artifacts. These ancient relics from the Tower era are so overpowered that the government strictly locks them down. He cannot believe a rogue organization wields them. While Makoto is severely injured, 12 is now fully restored and ready. You and I both thought it was over, right? The blonde confidently declares Makoto has fallen, but the battered captain absolutely refuses to accept that this fight is finished. Makoto is not ready to perish or abandon his allies. He considers his friends family, and he still has way too much left to accomplish. Makoto recalls Minato mentioning he was an only child, yet encouraging him to treat his brother like he treats Revenju. He thinks that logic just might work. The exhausted captain smiles, agreeing Minato is right. That memory fuels his remaining strength to grip his sword again. He can win this. He will return home and reunite Shinji and Orurid Manju. Makoto rises for one final strike. However, Parta's hand and sword are eliminated. With a cold, cruel smile, 12 bids him a final farewell. Facing his absolute end, Makoto immediately thinks of Shinji. Suddenly, the massive iceberg behind 12 violently shatters. Tears gather in the young boy's hand, clenched tight like a vow, while 1,000 powerful progenitors ready themselves to completely obliterate the villain who made him cry. Makoto watches, deeply worried about Minato. But whatever that entity is, it is not Minato. 12 instantly senses a terrifying shift in the boy standing before him. He is no longer just helpless prey. He has morphed into a ruthless monster ready to punish even the slightest hesitation with absolute and instant elimination. Absolutely terrified, all 12 can do is desperately command the boy to freeze. The blonde cannot even finish his hollow threat before his newly regenerated arm gets brutally severed again. This completely shocks 12, especially since he never broke eye contact once. He wildly wonders how the kid pulled it off because Minna did not even seem to flinch or move. But his own sword is heavily damaged. Rikiro states the blade is too dull for combat, while Killix insists only this boy could inflict such insane damage using that level of raw strength and technique. Regardless, the genius alchemist finds a solid workaround by activating his Trismagius ability. Killick instantly forges fresh new weapons for him, boldly telling everyone to just fight however they want. 12 realizes his foe is tougher. Melz explains that wild arm regeneration is called reversal. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. All right, stick with me here. The mage guesses he's using an auto-healing artifact with some crazy time limits. An incredibly fast arrow strikes the target perfectly. Mulgafith lands a flawless shot, but that forehead heals instantly. Tai Wong asks for the plan, and the mage says to just keep taking him down. 12 desperately summons his darkness, while Molith keeps launching these epic arrows that completely ignore the shadowy powers of this apocalypse disciple. One arrow hits the absolute center of his chest. Molith is hyper-focused with his bow. He smugly asks the guy if he seriously thought he couldn't hit such a massive opening. 12 gets saved by that artifact again. He fires back with shadow orbs, but Tak Wong bravely leads the charge forward. Moving at lightning speed, he closes the gap, instantly hitting the blonde guy with an absolutely devastating kick. A flurry of blows rains down. 12 gets smashed right in the face. The progenitor realizes this attack completely destroys everything in its path, hitting the target almost instantly. However, he notices it only works on whatever stays right in his direct line of sight. Because of this, the guy realizes it's actually super easy to dodge. 12 gets caught in this wild spinning attack and tossed aside. Ta Wong asks how many times they've crushed this guy, and Iser basically says counting is a total waste of time. Minato walks towards the captain. Though super weak, Makoto tries speaking. He asks if it's really the boy, but Warrenine says it isn't Minato. The The captain's wounds miraculously heal. Now pay close attention here. The apothecary reveals these are actually transcendent ancient progenitor spirits totally controlling Minato's body. She says there's zero time to explain. Makoto just stands there totally stunned by these legendary ancient spirits. Meanwhile, 12 angrily complains that they actually think his shadowy abilities are easily dodged. To him, the boy is an absolute beast. He feels he desperately needs to find a way out, but there is zero time left. This time, Kushima strikes him right in the heart. The epic progenitor didn't even let the guy think. He mentions that if this crazy regeneration continues, they can eventually finish him off permanently. Mel says that won't be necessary, and looking closely at the enemy, Callus realizes she is completely right. This apocalypse disciple is completely worn out and torn. Ear is super curious if they shred his body, which exact piece regenerates first. His hand starts recovering, and then suddenly 12 is fully back in action. He is absolutely determined to stop Minato's attacks, thinking his best bet is taking down Makoto and running. But apparently, luck totally favors him now. It isn't just the captain standing there, Minato is waiting too. That chilling smile is wildly different from the cheerful kid who attacked them earlier. 12 suddenly realizes things are looking terrible for him, especially with Raikiro taking charge. The apocalypse disciple gets completely torn into several pieces. He has absolutely zero chance left. Still, he feels pure joy sacrificing everything for his ultimate prophecy's grand fulfillment. So fading away doesn't scare him. But still, he feels incredibly tiny before the massive energy radiating from this creature. Realizing he hasn't conquered his fears, 12 strongly believes he can still win. He pulls another sneaky artifact from his pouch, putting the alert progenitor on guard, who instantly severs his arm. You saw that coming, right? Raikira gets trapped in this sand cage, and his healing finally vanishes. He's super relieved he held out just in time. Males explains they are completely trapped inside a cage created by that wild artifact. She asks what they should do now. Ryu quickly analyzes the whole situation, realizing 12 can no longer heal. The blonde points out that even darkness cannot break this cage. Neither side can win, but at least he keeps that powerful boy completely trapped inside. Rakiro calls out to someone asking if he actually understood everything. He's talking to Makoto. 12 looks back, totally startled. The sewer unit captain is standing. Young Midori knows swordsmanship is the one area Rei just cannot beat Makoto. Because of this, he thinks the redhead is a brilliant genius, so the boy asked his friend why he hasn't sought a master to grow much stronger. Taking Midori's great advice, Makoto searched everywhere and trained with several famously strong warriors who very quickly ran completely out of things to teach. This incredible kid surpassed every single one, searching for legendary teachers who could offer him anything more, making these masters feel like totally average, ordinary men in his epic presence. Nobody lasted more than a month before quitting on him. Until one day, a new swordmaster arrived, a teacher far stronger than any mentor he ever had before. Her name was Ichuka Hanoki. He studied under this ultimate teacher for 3 whole years. One time reading a book, he asked her about a mysterious technique. The page spoke of pure, sublime perfection. Hichika admitted the secrets of that ability were lost over time, and honestly, not even she knew how to use it. Only the creator, Raikiro Hinoi, could execute this technique. Hearing this fact left young Makoto totally astonished, and that's where we leave it. Like everyone else, she passed on absolutely everything she knew about the Hananoi-style sword technique. Stick with me. We are diving into a boy's epic quest for ultimate power. Ika paused to think. She admitted his talent was fantastic, but despite all his intense training, he remained just a small bud waiting to fully blossom. She advised exploring new styles and sparring constantly, though she honestly had doubts whether his massive potential would actually manage to fully awaken in the end. But his master believed hope remained. Someday he might just cross paths with a legendary swordsman completely out of his current league. Standing right before him is Raikiro Hinoi. Even while trapped inside Manaver's body, Hichika once warned him to seize the moment if they ever met, since an insane opportunity like this would never happen twice. Makoto deeply thanks his master because he feels the intense energy too. This is exactly that epic showdown she predicted. Meanwhile, the mage asks Raikiro what the young guy is doing. The legendary swordsman watches closely. Minato, standing just behind, rushes over to see the action. The kid is completely stunned. A brilliant crimson aura entirely surrounds the powerful captain. Back at the organization headquarters, Midori wears a deeply worried expression. He senses a terrifying energy spike while Shinji asks what is wrong. Suddenly, a massive energy explosion completely blinds the redhead. The sudden blast startles everyone. Aang asks what just happened, but the wall is shattered and Midori is already long gone. Meanwhile, back with the captain, 12 is completely overwhelmed by pure confusion. In this battered state, Makoto shouldn't pose any real threat to him at all, and yet the apocalypse disciple felt a chilling instinct that the captain was about to slice him apart. Ryoro loudly calls out to his pupil. He explains that if humans are like flowers, there is only one fleeting moment in life when someone truly blooms. He asks his student if he thinks that happens at absolute peak physical perfection. Now watch closely, you and I are about to see him reach absolute flawless technique. Ryuro tells him to pay close attention and remember this forever. Minato questions what he means just as Makoto exhales a gentle smoke. Beautiful memories of everyone who matters most flash rapidly through his mind. And just like a rare flower, he is finally about to bloom. Minato is finally starting to grasp the insane truth. 12 feels it too. Even missing his hands, it feels like the captain holds a blade. The legendary flower finally bloomed. Makoto Suo unleashes the epic Hinoi style, but pushes even further into a purely spiritual combat realm, achieving absolute sublime perfection. 12 was absolutely certain his darkness blocked the attack. He wonders how Makoto surpassed him without hands, let alone a physical sword. He furiously wonders why Makoto had to awaken his ultimate potential right then. But it is already game over for the Apocalypse disciple. Raikuro watches the epic battle utterly impressed. The modern Transcendent's glowing aura is incredibly breathtaking. Makoto feels something entirely new, like an independent consciousness pulsing right inside his invisible blade. It feels like he had lived under heavy clouds his entire life. But right now, he can finally reach out and touch the endless sky. You feel that too, right? This is exactly what reaching a totally new godlike tier of mastery means. Makoto spent his life running forward, supported by his wonderful family and loyal friends. He was always surrounded by truly incredible comrades and strong subordinates. Still, he kept pushing to grow stronger, even if this is his final chapter. Suddenly, Makoto visualizes his brother's deeply sorrowful face. He hopes for forgiveness because to him, everything is fine now. Someone slowly approaches him. It is the rookie who genuinely impressed him. With a gentle smile, Minato extends his hand. It catches Makoto off guard, but now he understands. Everything makes perfect sense. He isn't just fading away. Makoto is proudly passing the torch to the next generation. The rookie completely panics, realizing what is happening. In that brief flash, Minato felt his own spirit deeply connect with the captain through the mystical void mark. He desperately calls out for Makoto, but there is nothing else he can do. Glancing up at the sky, Minato notices something unbelievable. It is Midori arriving at lightning speed, swooping in to rescue his very best friend. The young guy is incredibly shaken up, but Makoto feels completely at peace now. Captain Suo's epic journey concluded at 23 while battling the terrifying Transcendent 12. Minato slumps onto the cold ground, feeling utterly defeated as he bitterly imagines what might have happened if Makoto had actually followed his advice. Brilliant red energy slowly floods the white snow. Makoto remains entirely at peace like a free bird with his best friend nearby. However, Midori simply cannot accept this heartbreaking outcome. Midori once asked Makoto why he wanted to be the unit captain. The powerful swordsman simply replied by asking what he meant by that. Midori pointed out he is the second strongest in the organization, practically unstoppable at full power. So he asked if fighting totally solo wouldn't be much better. Makoto laughed, saying that sounded exactly like something the blonde would say. Midori jokingly fired back, asking if he thought he lacked team spirit. Suo replied that some stars naturally shine much brighter than all the rest, even from far away. So what do you and I take from this? He valued stars like Midori, but never really knew how to describe himself. Stick with me, a new broadcast is starting up. Tearu is hyped that Kwashiro totally crushed the level 2 swordsman exam, completing the exact homework he assigned. The cheerful rookie says he can finally help the unit out, wanting their captain to hear the amazing news first. Taru decides to celebrate this victory with food. This makes Bikoma realize just how much he genuinely loves having loyal comrades around. He admits if he ever gets injured or beaten in a fight, he wants to rely on them. The captain is honestly just thrilled to have finally met people who make him feel this deeply connected. Midori mentions spotting their friends earlier, revealing only 2 of them are actually left. He immediately calls out for the unit's captain. Midori insists he gave it his absolute all, admitting he could never accomplish what Makoto bravely did. He deeply thanks Makoto. Meanwhile, Minato is still just lying there in the snow, agonizing over the tragic events. The ancient progenitors completely respect his silence. Irsen mentions how incredibly dark it is, and the archer is not surprised. Mel agrees, fully aware of what Minato is thinking right now. He is probably blaming himself, believing this tragedy happened because he was too weak. All the powerful progenitors have lost people before, loyal companions, friends, family, and even students. They have suffered grief saying goodbye to countless brave warriors who fell during intense battles. It changed them entirely. In many cases, their emotional wounds ran so deep they completely locked their heavy hearts away from the world. Riro calls out to his student. The emotional boy whispers that maybe he should just stop fighting. This deeply moves all the progenitors. Minato admits his heart feels like it has been completely shattered. He cries that if he let the powerful progenitors handle everything from the start, maybe nobody would have been lost today. The boy suggests just letting them control his body freely so everyone can easily maximize their own unique and incredibly powerful abilities during tough battles. Ryoro calls for him once more, but before anyone speaks, Minato admits he knows his rambling does not make much sense. Now pay close attention here. The young boy cries like heavy rain, utterly unable to forget the powerful feeling of Captain Makoto holding his hand. It was incredibly real for both of them. His hand still burns, and Minato remembers the captain trusted him. He refuses to ever disappoint Makoto, revealing that his vague dream of eventually surpassing the legendary progenitors has finally come to an absolute and sudden end. He will never think so casually again. Now his only goal is surpassing every single one of them extremely fast. Minato stares deep into the surrounding darkness until a mysterious light suddenly appears. This beautiful warm light shines, lifting everyone up from the dark shadows. Minato fiercely promises he will never let anyone else fall in battle again. A rescue helicopter finally arrives above. The fierce wind sweeps everything away except their incredibly heavy sorrow. The brave captain is taken away. Everyone is ordered to board, but Midori steps back, saying he will return on his own. Mana asks him to be careful. On the phone, Midori receives devastating news. It is about Makoto's mysterious attacker, revealed as a highly dangerous member of the 12 Disciples of the Apocalypse. He is firmly told to pause all mission reports because it is finally hunting time. Since that moment, Midori vanished without a trace. 1 month later, somewhere in Niano Prefecture. Let us pause here. Shinji stays entirely defensive before finally trying to strike Minato. The rookie throws a fierce punch, but the redhead blocks it instantly. This looks pretty easy for Shinji, who maintains his strong guard without even breaking a sweat. Minato is genuinely shocked that Shinji perfectly dodged his punch. The boy actually stops him using a slick move to spin him through the air. Shinji quickly realizes it is a powerful Hapkido technique. He attempts a quick counterattack, but Minato refuses to back down, and so does the redhead. They both prepare powerful strikes until someone suddenly shouts to stop. They both halt the fight immediately. The mysterious person is Icha Makoto's former master. As for the SU unit, it is finished. This deeply affected every CPU member. A beautiful memorial was heavily attended for all the brave SUA members they lost. Naturally, Shinji attended the sad farewell. That day, he stood silently right before his older brother's portrait for what truly felt like an absolute eternity. Eventually, Minato found him standing there, completely surprised by the unexpected sadness he saw in Shinji. The redhead held a few books and his brother's adorable cat. Judging by his messy appearance, he was really struggling. Minato finally meets Orimju. Shinji totally assumes he already knew about this cat, revealing he actually had absolutely no clue until he had to clean out Makoto's old room. He never actually realized how much his brother loved that cat. He also never knew what kind of books he read or what style of clothes he bought. Shinji did not even know his favorite foods or secret thoughts until sorting his belongings. Suddenly, something important catches Minato's close attention. He asks if Shinji is holding his brother's old journal. Shinji nods, explaining that Makoto previously told him he could just keep it. We just witnessed a hero's legacy. Makoto left a will for safety, and this journal reveals his epic daily training and secret missions. Let's dive right in. Shinji asks Minato about the hidden message finishing each entry. On January 12th, he jotted down that it was freezing lately, sincerely hoping his little brother was staying nice and warm out there. He flips right through the journal, scanning every single note. It always ended with Shinji. From passing the hunter exam and joining the counter-prophecy unit, to the day Mana brought watermelon and Makoto simply wished his brother was there. Even on October 1st, when his younger brother got picked for a sketchy, unclassified prophecy patrol, Makoto just prayed he would make it back safely. He spends forever just soaking in those pages. Now he realizes Makoto thought about him at the end of every single entry. Shinji just breaks down the pain of losing his brother, hitting way harder now. Minato tells him to listen. He brings up how the captain constantly talked about him, always so worried. Hearing that, Shinji wipes his tears and promises to become an absolute powerhouse. Whatever his brother's fate is now, he vows Makoto will never ever have to worry about him again. Cut to a spot near the volcano. Icha asks what they want, and Shinji steps up, delivering the heavy news about his older brother. She totally gets it. When the boys ask for her training, the master nods, noting they have already leveled up significantly. Minato is already insanely strong, and Shinji has honestly made massive progress too. Minato asks for her honest opinion, and she jokes that she might actually need to become his student instead. Tossing weapons their way, the sword expert flashes a truly wicked smile. She tells the boys to give it everything they have got. Minato and Shinji are so ready for this. Now watch closely, things are shifting. The progenitor vessel holds the ultimate promise of becoming the world's strongest warrior. Meanwhile, on a freezing day in London, England, a mysterious man walks. Heavy footsteps echo near Kohen Court, one of the 12 Apocalypse disciples. Our guy announces he finally tracked him down. Meet the legendary transcendent Midori Ichara. The blonde powerhouse demands their headquarters location instantly, straight up threatening to end him if he wastes even a single second of his time. Smirking Court asks why the huge rush, suggesting they have a little fun first. But Midori is absolutely not playing games today. The alley goes dead silent until a massive explosion of light shatters the peace completely. Midori is the only one walking out of there. He literally warned him right. The strongest transcendent casually grabs a prophecy book completely covered in his defeated opponent's fluid. That leaves 7 more targets to hunt down. Midori's squad already secured 4 of them, and he is extremely ready for the next fight. Cut back to the top-secret Egunen conference room. The prophecy books are safely sitting right there. Yo, the senior executive and chief commissioner of the counter-prophecy unit, asks if Midori actually sent them over. Her aide Tenjin Shinanon confirms it, reporting absolutely everything they just uncovered about these dangerous apocalypse disciples. The second aide, Shiki Kitamore, chimes in. She firmly believes one massive book got split into multiple volumes. The commissioner completely supports him crushing enemies and grabbing the items, but she never expected him to go entirely solo like that. She guesses Makoto passing away really messed with his head. Shiki immediately asks for their absolute next move. Yo tells them to just let him be. The guy never listens anyway, so she figures she will just share some tea with him whenever he finally gets back. There is another major thing they must discuss regarding the SUA unit. Since that team got disbanded, they have a massive gap to fill. Tenjin, Shinanon, and Shiki make an official request. They desperately ask permission to forge a brand new unit. Commissioner Io just stares right back at them. You and I both know a fight is coming. Over in Tokyo, dissident prophecy agents assemble with the Daybreak Infidels boss. These guys are no joke. The Transcendent asks if they can just wipe them all out simultaneously. But the girl hesitates, reminding him that every single enemy resists a totally different type of attack. Unit Captain Satsuna Hibiki sighs openly, admitting that is exactly why taking them down is such an absolute nightmare. She asks her subordinate to back the others up. Ani is extremely ready for action, instantly firing up her signature Trismegist ability. She yells for everyone to step way back. Suddenly, her giant liquid orb shatters into countless droplets. Then she summons a toxic gas that floods the air, completely choking out the enemies before commanding it to instantly turn liquid. Heavy mercury sticks to every single target. Then boom, massive incineration burns them all as Ani extends her hand. Closing her fist tight, she coldly whispers, "To hell with all of you, forcing that liquid mercury into a solid state." Brutal, solid spikes erupt instantly, piercing every single enemy. The squad watches in pure awe as the targets become literal human skewers. She sharply snaps her fingers to grab their attention, casually stating that should absolutely take care of them. The captain literally starts clapping. Hibiki is completely blown away that she seamlessly chained 4 totally different elemental attacks into one. She knows this is temporary, but trust me, you and I both know it would be a total tragedy losing someone that insanely talented. Let's dive right back in. She gets the invite, but Akane politely says she'll think first. The crew notices their captain is super eager, and honestly, with her amazing talent and sweet charm, who wouldn't want her on the team? Hibiki playfully mentions having a kid around would make life much easier, leaving the rest of the squad totally confused by that. Then the lilac-eyed girl calls Minato up. She excitedly announces she completely crushed Lesson 7, mastering the 3 matter states, and eagerly asks for more. Meanwhile, Minato is right in the middle of intense training. He's balancing the call while desperately saving his snack from a hungry Oberon Manju. He is honestly impressed she cleared Lesson 7. Meanwhile, Minato really needs to figure out 3 brand new tasks for her very next training lesson. The alchemist is already eagerly flipping through books. So Minato promises he'll send the new tasks soon. Over in Saitama Prefecture's Toko Rosala Heiko hits Lesson 8. He's battling a Grade 2 dirt-eating mythical beast and totally wrecks the boss, the voracious Sphinx, completely destroying its upper half. Mission accomplished with an epic flash kick and stab. The captain of the Koiro Todoroki unit praises his excellent performance and immediately invites the talented guy to join their elite squad. His excited teammates toss Heiko into the air. He promises to think it over, but picking the right unit is a massive choice. Back on the call, a super proud Ayan boldly declares she absolutely refuses to lose to anyone. Minato loves that fiery spirit. He mentions Shinji has leveled up massively too, so they really need to train hard just to keep pace. He admits seeing their huge progress is super encouraging. Hearing those sweet words makes her blush incredibly hard. Shinji asks Armju why it only likes Minato, but Minato shushes him for scaring the poor little animal. Trying to piece things together, Ani asks Keigi if he's heard about the brand new unit. Now pay close attention here. Since Sue dissolved, they're building a new squad, and the captain is getting picked straight from the absolute best current members. Naturally, this makes the boy super curious about the choice. Ane basically rolls her eyes, thinking he's joking. She discussed this with Hiko too. It's the Kanagi unit, and smiling, she playfully asks his opinion. He laughs it off first until the heavy realization actually hits him. Completely startled, he desperately asks what she means by that. Minato wonders if he fully understands they actually want him as captain. Calming down, he asks why him. Annie starts explaining that the CPU actually has a grand vision. Their ultimate dream: eradicate every predicted calamity in this world. Minato quickly asks about those threats. She simply confirms it, sharing that it's her personal wish too. But making that epic dream real requires something crucial. The captain must possess pure determination to confidently lead all the unit members to total victory. I know what you're thinking. She fully believes he's the perfect guy for the job, totally leaving Kanagi completely speechless. Captain Hibiki abruptly interrupts, calling for the lilac-eyed girl. During his break, Minato gets completely lost in deep thought. That word captain keeps echoing in his head. Seeing this, Master Icha asks her other student what he's doing. With just a few quick words from Shinji, she understands it's about becoming the new captain. She casually says he should absolutely go for it. The redhead agrees Minato is leader material. Kanny looks worried, and Icha instantly notices. Mel asks if anyone has solid advice for their pupil, but literally none of the legendary progenitors have any clue. They've spent their whole lives just fighting battles and know nothing about leading. Mel scolds them, saying teachers should actually help. Riker reminds her she's a teacher too. The elite swordsman asks Ryan for input. Ryan, the host, moving progenitor, says the timing is wrong. Besides, they're forgetting something huge. He hints someone else here is way more qualified for this pep talk, making Rikiro super curious about who. Suddenly, a staff is thrown beside Minato, instantly grabbing his attention. Icha demands to know why he's just sitting there instead of training. She announces intense new foot technique drills, instantly exciting Kanny, who completely agrees with her. Minata flawlessly floats on water using ripple travel. His master smiles. Not one single movement wasted, absolutely zero trace of hesitation. Ichigo asks how he managed this feat. It takes Prodigy's 6 whole months, but she definitely wouldn't believe he literally practiced constantly in his sleep. Minato is suddenly caught completely off guard because Icha doesn't give him 1 second to think. She violently attacks. Her strikes are insanely fast. Shinji watches totally impressed while Ora Mju scrambles out. Ika tells Minato to keep going. She silently vows to force his full focus whether he wants it. So what do we take from this? Minato stays determined while Reiro asks if this intense beating is that highly qualified pep talk for Kenji. Stick with me. Mel isn't shocked since Ika is his descendant. Either way, she completely believes Ika is totally brilliant for training an absolute genius like Makoto. Icha Hanoke, his sister's descendant and modern successor. But suddenly, Wan unleashes the Hananoi-style sword technique, striking out at Kanyu with a devastating and wildly powerful snake crawl attack. That wild strike instantly grabs Reiro's attention. Ichuka is totally going all out. She immediately unleashes the Purgatory Blade, charging straight at Manado, who totally panics. Suddenly, the powerful master is brightly illuminated by a glowing magenta orb. Rikiro has never witnessed a crazy technique quite like this. Finding a way to land a flawless strike while spinning midair makes things incredibly interesting for him right now. Ika admits she just doesn't understand. She desperately wants to know how this kid dodges her attacks so effortlessly, especially since he only knows this one basic technique. Utterly stunned, she recognizes his Hananoi-style sword technique and immediately asks the boy if those flawless strikes actually come straight from the legendary original creator. Icho tries guessing what Kanny is thinking. She completely realizes that Minato is stressing out about failing to meet Makoto's insanely high standards. Finally, the boy realizes exactly what had been holding his true potential back. He wondered if he could ever be an epic leader like Makoto. Meanwhile, Shinji ponders about the boy, totally unaware of what had been secretly troubling his mind. Watch closely now, because Minato saw the absolute truth with his own eyes. He knows exactly how inspiring Makoto was as a team leader. Kenji genuinely hopes he can step up and match him. Turns out Minato doesn't have to be Makoto. Icha screams for his attention, unleashing the Kinoi-style sword technique to summon the wildly powerful soaring Tengu right there. The master demands the boy to closely study the epic technique she used. Every single one was forged by later generations of masters, expanding heavily upon the founder's teachings. They can't mirror the progenitor perfectly since his insane abilities sit on a totally different level. Continuing, she explains later masters endlessly researched fresh techniques, hoping to grasp just a tiny fraction of that legendary level, fueling their evolution. Minato is totally amazed that entire generations of researchers dedicated themselves to matching the absolute progenitor. Icha admits nobody knows for sure how Makoto acted as a captain, but as his loyal student, she absolutely guarantees he was nothing short of legendary in the role. She explains you simply cannot expect to perfectly copy your heroes from day one, but you must keep training hard and pushing limits to follow their epic footsteps. Do that and somehow you'll crush your goals. The master then aggressively shouts at Minato, demanding his agreement. Ichika tells him to stop stressing about copying Makoto and start looking at things this specific way. She asks what crucial mission Makoto entrusted to him. Suddenly, Kanagi remembers that intense final moment feeling Captain Sue's heavy hand burning directly into his own. In that single fleeting instant, the entire future became his. Smiling, Ika says she absolutely loves that determined look on her student's face. Because of that, she promises to train him fiercely to protect that very same future. Ika challenges Manitom to unleash his full power. Their blazing auras and heavy weapons violently collide, painting an incredibly beautiful and chaotic event midair. 2 weeks pass. Over at the Counter Prophecy Unit headquarters, the two captains are heavily analyzing candidate lists for the fresh unit. Tenjin notes they usually pick candidates recommended by leadership or the main commissioner's office, but this time they have a seriously interesting exception stepping up. Ichigo Hananoi has surprisingly recommended the talented newcomer Minato Kani. Meanwhile, outside, a shadowy infiltrator is actively passing on top-secret information that the captain selection test begins in exactly 3 days. The sneaky infiltrator tells his boss to hold on, arrogantly claiming that he alone will lead this brand-new elite unit. You and I should watch Javier, one of 12 elite Apocalypse disciples. His broken Amanojaku ability lets him perfectly disguise himself as any single person he has already taken out. This rogue disciple plans to snatch the new captain role and completely shatter the entire organization from the inside. He thinks about Midori Ikihara, who is out there actively removing the other members. Half are already gone, completely lacking the raw strength needed to properly bring down those massive beasts. So to actually survive this mess, there's only one viable option left. They absolutely must trigger massive chaos directly inside the Counter Prophecy Unit. That is all it takes to trigger the prophecy. 3 days later, at the long-range practice grounds, everyone is officially ordered to assemble. Tenjin loudly announces that the ultimate test to select the fresh unit's captain is starting now. 4 brutal tests total. The first 3 will drastically narrow the field down to just 4 elite candidates, awarding points purely based on their final ranking in every single round. The one warrior securing the absolute highest final score gets crowned captain of the unit. Everyone is warned that the top commissioner herself will be watching everything from her office. Tenjin asks if those rules are crystal clear, urging them to go completely all out. Every single fighter there is hungry for the top spot. Minato is incredibly hyped about the candidates, but you and I know he can feel absolutely everyone heavily watching his every single move. Let's dive in, meet the 8 hopefuls. First up is Hiruchi Kokid from Yaguruma, who's already trash-talking Minato. Then there's Shichiro Asahina from Yoroya. He thinks it's completely crazy that Kanji wants the captain spot after just 2 months in the CPU. Kuramos from Yoshima is honestly impressed by his guts trying to chat with her partner despite still being in training. But Hizagi from Team Macabre tells her to drop it. He's really not thrilled about Kenji trying to figure out his identity either. Ezuke Sakazaki from the Surasaki unit talks about Kenji's epic first-grade prophecy, run totally stunned that he was actually recommended by the famous Ichika Haninoi. Looking annoyed, Shikami from the Todoroki unit points out he heard Kenji is already training his CPU peers. Kane. Io from Team Hibiki wonders if this guy is actually teaching a Kane feeling super insecure that Kaneji's good looks might steal his spotlight. But one of these people is secretly a disciple of the Apocalypse in disguise. Completely unaware, Minato just sits there wondering why his master still hasn't shown up. To make things worse, she texted him saying she overslept, but still threatened to roast him into charcoal if he actually manages to lose. Kane knows she's completely serious after everything he's been through. Now watch closely. He has no clue what these tests involve, but he absolutely cannot get eliminated before Ichigo finally gets here. Either way, the trial begins. Meanwhile, Shinji asks the master if this wild delay is really part of the training, which she proudly confirms with absolute certainty. She tells him to hurry up. Icha makes it super clear that if he keeps dragging his feet, the whole thing might end before they even arrive. The redhead grins, asking if she just wants to see Minato pass the big test. Back there, the mana measurement test wraps up. Kani hits the test area. Minato scores the absolute highest and practically cries because he completely broke the machine. Sishi, who ranked 5th overall, is just totally blown away. Asuke, placing 3rd, wonders if mana is Manado's main specialty, prompting Kuromo, who also tied for 3rd, to ask what he means. He explains that when someone lacks standout physical skills, they usually specialize in mana. And to him, Minato fits that exact pattern perfectly. Iz says it's exactly like En. The boy silently listens to everything. En Shikami actually placed 7th during that entire mana testing phase. The second trial is hand-to-hand combat. Whoever manages to defeat their opponent scores 2 points. Ten asks for volunteers, and En immediately steps up, pointing straight at Minato. He wants this fight because he's his unit's absolute strongest brawler, ready to crush another special member. When En was just 2 years old, he and his mom were ambushed by terrifying monsters pouring out of a dimensional rift. The beasts charged right at them, instantly awakening a mysterious mark on the boy. Let that sink in. Without even leaving his stroller, he completely wiped out every single creature in the area. Hippiki argues it's completely unfair to let En take this specific test, but Koiro demands to know why, since he's their absolute strongest physical fighter. He points out the kid lacks mana, but physically he is completely unmatched by other awakened transcendent individuals. Koiro proudly explains that ever since M joined up, he's poured every ounce of energy into martial arts, meaning nobody stands a chance against him physically. Hippiki just groans, telling him to stop flexing because it's getting super cringy. But secretly she knows he is right. En's raw strength completely outclasses everyone else here. Hippiki honestly believes the poor boy is about to be absolutely crushed. Before starting, En asks if Minato is actually training Hiko. That question completely catches Minato off guard. He quickly explains he's way more of an advisor than a teacher, just giving out small tips. En scoffs, saying he's met fakes before, guys who give one tip to a genius, then run around bragging that they were their master. The redhead smirks, claiming that just like himself, Hiko is a pure genius who doesn't need anyone bossing him around, finishing by saying the blonde will be perfectly fine alone. Minato completely surprises him by cheerfully agreeing that he's absolutely right. Smiling warmly, the newcomer fully agrees. That only irritates En more, asking what kind of twisted game he is playing. Regardless, he isn't wasting any time here. He launches straight into his rip and tear technique, packing so much force the ground literally cracks beneath him, launching himself forward with insane speed. Kenji can only marvel at how fast his opponent moves, but Minato somehow manages to dodge those sharp claws. Boom! A massive explosion shakes the arena, completely disrupting the vision of every single spectator. Koiro is absolutely hyped watching An's performance. The young man is going all out, throwing insanely lightning-fast strikes. Minato sticks to defense, calmly observing the patterns, then unleashes a Kato-style technique. He grabs his wrist, sending him spinning through the air with an armed twist. The resulting impact completely shatters a massive chunk of the arena. This leaves the other candidates totally speechless, scrambling to shield themselves. The raw recoil from that single counterattack was just unbelievably powerful. Minato casually tells En that he is really strong. That just irritates the boy, asking if he is joking. So what do we make of this? He violently breaks free from Minato, escaping that humiliating position. Harui is completely stunned since he lacks a single scratch. Kane totally notices this, thinking it is absolutely impossible since the ground got wrecked. Izuku asks if it is actually surprising, pointing out again that En's crazy physical strength is his ultimate weapon. He claims normal people cannot even match his raw endurance. Stick with me because this fight is just getting started. Minato knows redirecting attacks simply will not win this. He decides to try a crazy new move, rushing right in with a lightning-fast flying kick. Kanagi lands a massive hit right in the stomach. Wasting absolutely no time, he firmly plants his foot using X-Cross and launches a heavy punch. He quickly combines a spinning foot strike, sending him flying super far. This totally stuns everyone watching, even those trusting the veteran's insane physical abilities. Our amazing rookie just outplayed him in a matter of a few seconds. But contrary to their thoughts, Anne looks completely battered, only to be saved by the judge loudly shouting that the match is finally over. So the epic test ends right here. Minato wins and easily earns 2 points, while Takwong and Irsen joyfully celebrate their awesome student's victory. Someone calls Ishizuku over just to mention that Minato's physical stats are better than En's. This totally confuses him since everyone thought the rookie only specialized in using mana. The boy immediately starts his deep research, completely shocked that Kanagi is a notable fighter. He truly assumed Minato would naturally get eliminated if he just ignored him. Now he finally realizes that without stopping him, Minato could cause massive problems later. Now watch this carefully. The guy opens his eyes wide, totally confused, and loudly screams, asking what Minato is doing because it really hurts. The cheerful rookie just tells him to stay completely still. Warentine steps in to handle the healing, playfully claiming he is just showing off. She wonders if besides insane stats and mana, he is somehow a healer too. He asks if there is anything he can do. That simple question brings her memory back to a terrible day. She bravely replies that yes, there are some things, and she is finally ready to stand up. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the field ahead. Minato calmly explains the close combat test is finally over, while En shockingly realizes he was completely unconscious for 5 minutes. He explains that after their intense fight, everyone picked partners and the epic battles kicked off simultaneously, starting with Haruki bravely fighting against Kanam. Then Shichiro battles Koro Senob. Minato mentions 2 pairs finished up fast, but others are still fighting hard. Asuka Sakazaki fiercely competes with Sohazagi for points while carefully studying her opponent's every move. The impatient blonde just wants to end this fight fast, so provokes her opponent, playfully asking if those high stats make him tough. She confidently hints there is a big secret the nerd definitely does not know. You and I know that stings. She claims without standing out he is just a boring machine cog, and Isizuk truly does not deserve to be the captain. Isizuk calmly replies that apparently they simply have totally different views on ideal captains. He really does not want a leader relying on flashy powers. To him, a proper captain must perfectly respond to absolutely any situation and guarantee the entire unit stays safe. He claims that is the exact opposite of Makoto. Izuk refuses to ever lead his beloved members into total downfall over some completely meaningless, pointless fight. Mano, overhearing everything, feels completely struck by those wise words. Getting slightly annoyed at the glasses guy's speech, he tells Canny to just ignore the wild provocation, but the smart rookie already knows and happily thanks him anyway. So unleashes her martial arts ability, fiercely attacking with a ridiculously powerful, devastating chain blast. Isizuk desperately tries withstanding the massive blow but ends up getting launched super far. So refuses to stop, completely ready to strike again, but Isizuk totally surprises her by suddenly loudly surrendering. That is enough, making the glorious winner so Hisaji. The blonde asks the nerd if he took the hit purposely, and Isizuk casually replies that he really hates dealing with scary women. The smart nerd claims he did not want to waste any more energy on a completely pointless battle, so he just ended it. Either way, they still have a massive journey ahead. Isizuk confidently leaves, knowing he could have easily defeated the woman if he actually wanted to, but he prefers keeping his grand, brilliant strategy completely hidden from Manado for now. The boy stays there quietly watching his strange behavior. With that epic conclusion, the test finishes. Manado takes first place, Kuromo grabs second, followed by Haruki. Finally, it is break time, and Kenji suddenly notices his master and Shinji are missing. He playfully wonders if those two simply got lost arriving. Icha happily says the brave student did wonderfully. Shinji finally realizes their actual location and nervously asks what is happening. He desperately wants to know why they are in the CPU headquarters central garden instead of the test site. Icha walks through the area, super aware of every step. The intense woman says someone recently fell right there. She says it is hard to catch with a naked eye, but weird traces of an intense aura are scattered all over the place. Whatever terrifying beast attacked the warrior here, it must be incredibly powerful. Shinji nervously asks if someone actually invaded the CPU, quickly reminding her this entire central area remains completely isolated from the dangerous outside world. Ichigo asks him to think about the 12 disciples. They know about the CPU, so she would not be surprised if they actually found this hidden place. Crazy, right? The stunned boy realizes this could actually be entirely possible. All right, stick with me on this wild mystery. His master tells him to hurry to the test site, totally certain that a captain was eliminated. Midora wants to avenge Makoto's fate too. The test holds massive surprises ahead. However, it is still just break time right now. Kuromo patches up injuries. Some grab food while Isu just continues his research. Minato eats right beside En. He spots his master and friend arriving. Ishika feels relieved, glad she won't have to toss him into a fiery pit. Haruki stares at the woman, seriously wondering if she actually meant that. Tsushiro reveals she is one of 5 Special Forces members in the entire central unit, including Midori. Isizuk adds that this is Ichiga Haninoi. Hearing this, Sue asks who he is, even explaining that too. Scanning the room, Shinji realizes things do not add up. She claimed a captain was eliminated, but all 7 captains are still perfectly fine. Ichigo Haninoi knows this and just smiles. She calls Minato over, saying she has something important to share. The boy loudly repeats every single thing she said, making Shinki warn him to keep quiet. The master says it is highly likely based on clues in the central garden. Someone as strong as the captains was definitely eliminated. Ika is super sharp and has a wild explanation for why everyone remains. So the culprit is disguised. Minad nervously asks if they are in serious trouble. Shinji nods, warning that if they do not catch this culprit soon, more people will fall. But the absolute worst part, if they succeed, a terrifying prophecy might actually come true. Icha surprises her students with an idea. The master suggests taking everyone out to solve the problem immediately. Watch closely now. Manado figures out this test is not just about picking a new captain. It is actually a chance to hunt down and stop one of the 12 disciples hiding inside. Ichigo totally agrees, reminding them this exact group is responsible for Makoto's tragic loss. Smirking, she asks if that makes him furious. Minato reflects, but yes, he is totally ready, and Shinji feels the exact same way. Minato sits there looking like his brain might explode from thinking so hard, but his eyes also hold a deep sadness. One of the progenitors is super curious about what he is thinking. The detective admits he would check the garden himself, but since Minato is stuck right in the middle of a test, that is just not possible. Kanagi notes he still has break time, but Azul warns that moving now might alert the culprit. The detective figures if this enemy is strong as the 12, they could easily eliminate everyone here. He concludes they must be ready for any attack. Manadam knows the progenitor is right. Right after this next test, he plans to investigate the scene. He finds it super weird that no progenitors noticed a fight. Reikiro reminds him they were trapped on that mountain with him for a whole month. The progenitor explains a mysterious power there blocks energy flow. It is the exact spot where he created the Hananoi-style sword technique. Mills adds that besides that, you see it too, right? The culprit is perfectly camouflaged unless approached, proving it is one of them. The detective tells them to stop interfering. Reiro snaps back, telling him to quit whining and just do his job to take out this culprit. Taking a deep breath, Azul looks thoughtful. He asks his pupil to pass a question to Ichika for him. Minato asks her what if the disguised culprit is actually a candidate instead of a captain. This sparks an idea. The master notes the candidates are powerful enough to become future captains, so it is highly possible. Still, they cannot rule anyone out as a suspect, especially Minato if the upcoming test is an all-out battle. Kennedy plans to provoke the culprit into exposing themselves. Break ends, starting test 3, a strict written exam, no talking, no phones, and no leaving your room. Minato is completely doomed here. Worse yet, every question is about central regulations, and he knows nothing about that stuff. Since this test picks the next captain, he figures it actually makes perfect sense. He will not give up. He tries hard to think, knowing there is still a chance. Finally, results drop. The board reveals the 4 finalists. Minato feels awful after completely bombing the written exam with 0 points. He walks up declaring it is the end for the last 4 candidates. The boy praises Minato's effort. Aizu actually took first place, which totally irritates M since the 4-eyed genius did so incredibly well. Both he and Kaji scored absolute 0. The redhead cheers that Minato is still first overall. He thought his own 3 points would help him survive. Trust me, you and I haven't seen anything yet. He claims he is totally rooting for Minato to win, simply wondering if this new captain is someone he would actually enjoy teaming up with. A real squad needs at least 7 members to be officially recognized. He advises Minato to carefully consider who to invite if he becomes captain. He has one more important thing. He tells him if he wants the Kanagi squad packing the absolute best physical stats, he should immediately recruit him as the very first member. Anyway, he wishes Minato pure luck. Meanwhile, the detective asks about checking the central garden, and the boy asks if he still hasn't identified the actual culprit behind it. Azul asks Minato what he thinks he is clarifying that as a professional detective, he only relies on solid concrete evidence. Watch closely, it is time to pressure the Desali. With the SU squad totally disbanded, another is needed. Minato gets recommended, and Ichika, the guy responsible for that decision, suddenly revealed something incredibly shocking. One of the 12 disciples actually eliminated a test candidate and perfectly assumed their entire identity. Luckily, Minato has a detective progenitor deep inside him. Males wonders how Azul will crack this case. Finally, they arrive at the exact location where the tragedy occurred. Every tiny detail gets examined, absolutely nothing is left out. Minato wants to know what the progenitor thinks, and the detective says it is exactly as he expected. At this point, he perfectly knows who the victim and the culprit really are. Minato remains totally silent upon hearing this. Reiro claims they are completely sure the culprit is one of the 12 disciples because he senses intense energy from a certain prophecy book. He says it feels identical to the one that guy carried on the snowy mountain. Mel desperately wants to know their next immediate move. Suddenly, an eerie wind rustles the tree leaves. This actually seems to affect Azul in some weird way. The progenitor finally hands body control back over to Minato. Someone is fast approaching the boy. Kajagi turns to see what it is. The boy's eyes widen at the figure. It is the elderly commissioner woman approaching. She asks what he is desperately trying to find. Minato asks who she is. Ya claims she is merely an old lady passing by and asks him to answer one question. Bonato says he thinks someone was brutally eliminated right there. He looks away, terrified. You feel that tension, right? Io is genuinely shocked by this heavy information. She clearly recognized those lingering energy traces. Thinking it over, she knows this boy was a test candidate and instantly realizes he is incredibly gifted. The woman insists he should find the culprit, and Minato reveals he already knows the answer but admits he was not the one who solved it. Kanji explains that is exactly why he cannot reveal the identity yet. Ao says she is completely unsure what he means is asking if it wouldn't be much better to stop this dangerous person as fast as possible. The boy explains the biggest problem here is that they are extremely powerful, and he strongly believes there are actually 2 people behind all of this. Minato decides to take them both down at once. I know you and I saw that coming. The boy confidently states everything will be resolved by tomorrow. So he asks if she could just delay the alarm for right now. Io carefully thinks over this bold request. Monado is asking her to postpone it, but she playfully responds she is just a passing old lady hoping everything goes perfectly to his plan. The woman turns to leave, but he quickly asks her to wait. Either way, the boy proudly tells her his name. Smiling, Io says she will definitely remember that. Another intense wind gust almost knocks Minato entirely over. A sound of nature echoes once more. Kenji is totally surprised to find himself back. There is absolutely no one else around but him. Shiki asks the lady if she really thinks this is a solid idea. Io assures her this boy knows way more about the incident than anyone else, and she is highly curious to see how he handles the problem. She asks the girl to speak with Tenjin about staying behind to help Minato in case anything goes terribly wrong. The lady admits investigating those strange energy traces was a genuinely good idea. After all, she ended up discovering far more than expected. She notices something strange about the girl. Shiki explains it is just quite rare for her to ever hold such high expectations for anyone. Aya responds, it is because of his fierce eyes. She fully recognizes that intense look. The very next day begins. Manado is already wide awake exploring the area and soon catches up with him so they can head out together. He mentions the upcoming test apparently focuses heavily on evaluating Kathleen-like abilities, adding that Isuk claimed they will likely test pure planning and elite leadership skills. Either way, he is fully rooting for Manado. The newcomer thanks him, mentioning something he is curious about. Kanny simply wants to know why he got eliminated on purpose. That totally catches him off guard, but En turns around and says he simply decided to change his strategy mid-test. Instead of leading a squad, he thought serving the new captain would be much better. Minato sharply asks if it was actually just to easily eliminate other squad members before they could grow way too powerful. Lurking behind trees, Ichuka watches them without hiding, bragging he can steal their bodies anytime. We leave it here, but trust me, you want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. He admits it's only partially true since the written test was actually brutal. His real self would have scored 0 anyway. Minato points out his grand plan totally flopped. The villain just smirks, wishing he took Isuk's form. The imposter stops realizing it's way too late now. Poor Koyu got completely dragged into this sneaky, massive trap. Hibiki tells the disciple to introduce himself. The imposter flashes a super creepy, completely hollow smile. His true name is Ava, his crazy ability. He disguises himself as whoever he defeats, instantly absorbing all of their memories and brain data. He couldn't find Minato at the dorms at all, so he simply took out En instead, the absolute strongest candidate left standing. Hibiki asks if bringing down the CPU is the goal, and Ava happily agrees. Since his sneaky plan crashed, he declares everyone here must be wiped out, but first he's curious. He demands to know exactly who exposed his flawless disguise. Captain Hibiki points at the guy beside him. He turns his head and immediately sees Kanagi standing there. Ava figures out Kanagi orchestrated this entire setup. His smirk turns wicked, suddenly glowing intensely with a terrifying bright green aura. Ava asks who Minato really is. Kanagi intensely glares right back at this menacing apocalypse disciple. Flashback, right before Ava hijacked Shikami's body, the real En Shikami got thrilling news he was actually being recommended for captain. Hyped. The kid asks if it's true. Koichiro confirms, saying the others will learn tomorrow, so he must keep it totally secret. The captain tells him to listen, saying the boy possesses the absolute best combat skills of all the candidates. He's totally confident En will become an incredible, inspiring leader and absolutely crush it in his new role. Tears fill the boy's eyes. He promises he won't disappoint him, swearing to do his very best to make his captain incredibly proud. Now watch this. Koichiro gets 0 time to react to the scene. He finally realizes the terrifying truth. His pupil lies defeated on the floor. The attacker simply sneers, claiming En was just way too weak, totally provoking him. Ava asks if that's really all a future captain can handle, or maybe her crew just became too overpowered. She brags it's all thanks to an artifact their boss gifted them. Ava cheerfully introduces herself as one of those 12 legendary disciples they're hunting. The boy desperately activates his Amanjaku ability on himself. He suddenly senses an attack rushing in. Koichiro won't forgive this. He activates Titanium Incarnation and furiously strikes the Apocalypse disciple. The angry captain demands to know how she dared do this. The enemy fakes shock at easily beating the disciple. Koichiro gets super emotional just seeing his beloved student's face. He asks if he's actually okay, but gets 0 time to process. Laughing, Ava reminds him she already revealed her name and just stole his friend's body. She grabs the dark artifact, instantly hurling its power at Koichiro. The man's eyes snap wide open. He's brought back Ava, cheerfully declares. He's now her loyal puppet servant, and the brainwashed captain completely agrees, calling her Ava. Annoyed, she punches him. The invader snaps that he absolutely must remember his name. Is now En Shikami. Koichiro nods, and they both laugh evilly. That's exactly what Azul saw. Let that sink in. Azul drops his theatrical detective ability, ending the playback. Used at the crime scene, it creates a flawless holographic video. To trigger it, Azul must be completely certain of both the culprit's identity and the evidence. He can even foresee future crimes. The massive catch. If he guesses wrong just once, he loses this power forever. So basically, he never misses. Mills asks if a body-stealing power and a creepy artifact controlling fallen fighters actually exist. Ryura points out that's exactly why 2 culprits were reported, adding that freaky people like them always terrify him. Suddenly, a massive energy shift puts all the progenitors on ultimate high alert. An intense aura explodes around Minato. Worried, the mage calls out, but the boy vows the culprit will pay dearly. His handmark literally smokes. Back to the present, he's about to absolutely crush Eva. Minato unleashes his light reflection. Planting his foot with an X-cross fist strike, he lands a brutal spinning punch. Eva gets blasted backward, but Kanagi has zero intention of stopping. The disciple struggles to stand, but Minato shows no mercy, spamming several crazy combo abilities. But wait, something feels totally off here. Eva just laughs out loud, teasing that's no way to treat a buddy. The fake N pouts, thinking they bonded during their battles, and asks why Minato is acting so mean. Minato realizes the harsh truth: he still isn't strong enough. Eva smirks, saying if he wants to win, he needs a massive upgrade. That weak level is only good enough for fighting basic CPU members. The disciple stands, his green aura glowing fiercely. He mocks that against him. This is a complete waste of time. And that's where we leave it. Kanagi agrees, frustratingly admitting he won't be the one to finally defeat him. All right, stick with me. The Truth Mage shares his exact fierce anger, and Mistius Kentius is finally taking total control today. Watching this unfold, Alva wonders if those strange satellite reports meant exactly this. Realizing the boy is in that bizarre alternate state, Eva notes that Minato actually requested this as dark storm clouds gather. Massive energy surges right toward him. To Eva, living means way more than just waiting for the end. Smiling wildly, he demands they keep the fun going until the absolute finale. The fearless mage will happily accept this insane challenge. Looking straight through their pupils' eyes, the proud progenitors demand to know what those things are. The detective calls it Eva's physical shield. That crazy artifact lets her copy an ancient fallen warrior and fully control its every move. Eva claims these beasts pack the exact same punch as Inshami, and she is totally ready. Hibiki spots over 100 targets, terrifying Kanium, who frantically asks the captain for orders. Minato states that harming innocent people just is not enough. She also crushes their dignity. Mel notes her student has evolved, shocking the boy, who wonders if it is true. She believes the legendary progenitors have also evolved. Right now, the mage completely controls him. Either way, she knows that fool heavily underestimated him. Using a blazing skill, yellow lightning blasts the targets. The enemies turn to pure dust. Eva watches this, totally amazed. Mel asks permission to let those defeated enemies drop down. She promises to completely obliterate them before they even hit the ground. They all vanish into roaring flames. Eva is totally stunned. Watch closely, because you and I need to see how he does this. Eva knows some fierce fighters reach absolute perfect precision through crazy amounts of hard work and training. Watching that unbelievable spectacle above is just overwhelming. Plus, controlling that massive surge of electric energy is totally insane. Better yet, he accurately blasted every single target blindly. The bold mage calls Minato over so he can closely watch her flawless fighting moves. Kanagi rushes to stand by her side. He knows that borrowing his form means she lacks her original prime legendary strength. Yet her fierce strikes are perfectly flawless, hitting every single target without one mistake. Mel calls him her dear pupil. She reveals that originally the kid only craved massive power for himself. Meanwhile, the legendary spirits were absolutely thrilled to share his form and unleash their epic abilities. Minato still cannot completely grasp her deep meaning. She explains his rising power distracted him, pushing him so much harder to gain ultimate strength and finally achieve his big, lifelong dream. This deeply moved the mighty progenitors, watching the young boy's truly limitless potential start to bloom. She remembers his first crushing disappointment, right when a deeply respected mentor asked him to carry on their legacy. And now everything has reached this incredible climax. Mel feels genuine fury for those manipulated and erased by that total fool. All the proud progenitors watch him happily. The mage shares one more secret. We can both agree everyone absolutely loves this brand new Minato. Outside, Eva questions his silent muttering. He sharply declares that powerful beasts always crush the weak, calling it the absolute law of nature. But when he suddenly tries to strike, he is forced into a frantic last-second retreat. A massive energy blast fires without the boy even moving. Eva realizes something shifted. Mel notes many people share that harsh mindset, sparking a familiar memory. Or rather, they are collectively remembering an important truth. They attacked that tower for one simple reason. They hated watching innocent people get crushed by arrogant, powerful beings. Seeing the helpless constantly abused by the strong is exactly what filled the mighty progenitors with absolutely genuine blazing rage. Controlling Venat's form, she confidently approaches. She tells Kanagi she knows he felt that before and his powers are currently somewhat reduced. Knowing this must frustrate him, Mel asks him to remember his peaceful mountain training days, back when his bright spirit was incredibly happy and full of endless joy. Yet they clearly sense his heavy tension. The mage reminds the boy they share his exact deep emotions. She confidently promises that one day he will absolutely reach the legendary level of the progenitors. Mel vows that whenever a challenge gets way too tough alone, they will always be there helping. Wrapping up this sweet moment, she promises that whenever cruel unfairness hurts him, they will burn with that exact same anger. But for now, they must stop this dark prophecy. Instantly, the apocalyptic disciple gets completely destroyed. The observing CPU members are left completely speechless. Tenjin claims the boy resembles a younger Midori, an absolute beast that literally nothing can defeat. Beaten to the ground, Ava is stunned that 100 targets vanished mid-air, rendering this stolen puppet completely useless to him right now. Mel asks if he finally sees their massive power gap. "Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next. Stick with me here, we are diving right back in." She tells him to relax, knowing their elite squad will make the enemy talk. The disciple of the apocalypse stays down. Ava simply admits he is just not strong enough to win in this exact state. He laughs, saying it is a good thing he actually listened to his boss. That is exactly why he prepared a sneaky plan B. Suddenly, a creepy coffin appears right next to the stolen body. Minato stares at it, super curious. Ava claims they knew about this forever. After all, he actually helped destroy the massive tower because he is an original progenitor. It is Raikiro Hinoi, the curse of the hordes. Seeing this legendary body completely terrifies the progenitor's spirit. A Hadad flies toward the coffin, making the annoyed swordsman complain loudly. Mel gasps, realizing it must be his actual real body since it passed through Hadad. The stolen Raikiro struts toward them with a creepy smile. This is literally his dream. Minato can feel the insane aura from that body. It feels just as wild as Midori's energy from the training school. Actually, it is way stronger. Ava raises her hand for her next wicked trick. Creepy hands suddenly burst from the ground. Here comes the massive second wave. The boy totally panics, but Mel promises him that everything will be just fine. Suddenly, a huge explosion erupts right behind Ava. Watch closely. The confused thief turns around. Minato remembers something super crucial. He has little Heiko, the awesome alchemist Akan, his new swordmaster Ichuka, and even his brand new friend Shinji. The wise mage reminds him that he is never alone with a team like this. Ava smirks, asking if these are his pathetic little companions. Hearing this makes Minato realize something crazy. Even his unique way of speaking perfectly matches Reichiro. Ava grins, delivering some genuinely bad news. She brags that none of her freaky puppets are weak. She attacks a zombie but instantly has to dodge a furious counterattack. She seriously wonders if this monster is using crazy body armor because her ultimate dark ray did not even leave a single scratch. She suddenly realizes that each of these puppets has actually activated their unique abilities. Zero cannot find a single weak point to strike. Meanwhile, poor Kanan runs away entirely terrified. Captain Habibiki calmly puts on her headphones to take them all down, activating her brilliant ability, Realize. Then, like a sweet melody, her epic Firebird eliminates absolutely everything in its path. Little Kana is super impressed, but the captain finds it incredibly terrifying that they can still use special abilities even after falling. Suddenly, the chain completely shatters. Kane notices this and feels uneasy. Looking up, he spots the zombie Koichiro breaking free, totally ready to strike using his titanium incarnation. The huge monster smashes the ground. This insane impact creates massive cracks, basically breaking the floor of hell itself. But Apiki absolutely knew he would do this. Meanwhile, Ava is totally loving this chaos. You and I both know she is totally underestimating him, right? She laughs, betting a weakling like Minato will never survive this battle. Connie smirks, turning to ask their honest thoughts. The cheerful boy just gives a small smile. Suddenly, another mysterious voice asks to take total control. Minato steps up again, daring to ask who she thinks will actually lose this fight. Ava finds this sudden confidence extremely strange. Minato warns the filthy disciple never to underestimate his awesome friends. Meanwhile, Hikataro gets completely surrounded. Knowing it is everyone against him, he sees the perfect chance to finally put Lesson 7 into practice. Suddenly, a massive surge of golden energy flows through his entire body. He activates the Golden Dragon Fist technique. His foot gently taps the terrifying creature. This is the absolute perfect moment to strike them all. Behold his incredibly powerful dragons crossing. Tak Wong, the legendary creator of this technique, watches Hikataro closely. He notes the boy's totally unusual body. His muscles are tight like a pulled wire, yet insanely unbelievably flexible. He also notices Hiko's brilliant basic strategy. He focuses all his power onto single points by combining insanely fast footwork with massive jumps. Earson, the awesome progenitor of Flashfoot, thinks this is really cool but wastes energy. She claims there is a way better method to maximize natural talent. He should totally strive for one continuous, unbreakable line of flawless movement. Instead, using his crazy elastic body, Hiko entangles his enemy with serpent coil. It acts like a steel whip cutting through absolutely everything without escape. Hiko perfectly unleashes his dragon scales. It is awesome and he is ready. More creepy monsters appear, but his real target is someone else. Akan simply refuses to lose. Tekilic alchemy is simply the ultimate method for bringing any imperfect thing incredibly close to perfection. He knows the girl is super straightforward in battle, focusing all her massive energy on creating weapons. But honestly, that is just a tiny piece of true alchemy. The violet-eyed girl confidently unleashes her tismatist liquid. Killick explains that true alchemists master forbidden arts, learning to absolutely control their surroundings. This creates a transcendent being, which is exactly what she does using such extreme methods. Akan's epic Lesson 8 creates imaginary creatures. She actually built one strong enough to completely destroy a supreme transcendent being's body. Minato calls for Raikiro. He says not to worry about Shinjuo. Trust me, you and I will love what happens next. Stick with me here. The redhead is totally surrounded by fallen enemies. Reiro admits his brother is totally different, but this kid is an absolute natural-born warrior. Honestly, Shinji handles that epic Hananoi-style sword technique like a true expert right here. Using his snake crawl move, that sharp blade simply cuts through everything. He still has crazy tricks left to play. Triggering his Maraviville blast ability, he easily locks down absolutely everyone standing around him. Ichigo watches the wild clash, totally blown away by the combo. She genuinely wonders if he mixed his sword skill with another power. Even while strictly relying on a sword, she realizes his flawless execution matches Minato perfectly. A sudden distraction totally pulls her focus away. Out of nowhere, a massive blazing hurricane completely surrounds Minato and Eva. Seeing this, Achuka finally realizes the epic showdown between Kenagi and the legendary 12 disciples has officially started. But wait! She suddenly spots a very strange detail. Staring closely, she asks herself if it is actually real. She desperately wonders if that is genuinely Raichiro, the legendary founder of the Hananoi-style sword technique. Totally shocked, Icha demands to know what is happening. But this showdown is Mel against Eva. The fake Raichiro unleashes the Hinoi-style sword technique, launching Seatorm's slash straight toward the boy. Mel easily dodges using the host body. Even so, this really impresses Minato. In total silence, she casts Havad, while Ama quickly tries countering with his blade. Sadly, the magic attack just is not powerful enough here. Moving wildly everywhere, Aba activates Dice Roll. This instantly unleashes devastating slashes all around him. Mel safely leaps onto a solid block for cover. Since Minato previously used this exact power, he clearly spots the big difference. Watch closely now. That is the true Hinoi-style technique, but there is something more. Meanwhile, the CPU team runs for their lives. This specific technique hits much harder. Sashiro actually loses his hand completely, dropping it straight into the dark abyss, which the sharp mage clearly spots right away. Fortunately, those transcendents are safely rescued by a shining, protective golden bubble. They retreat to a safe zone while she pushes deeper into the clash. Mills asks Raikiro what their very next move should be. The swordsman quietly thinks it over, but instead of responding, he just walks away. Raikiro casually says he will leave everything up to her, which she is totally fine with. Mello intensely glares right at the hostile enemy trapped inside her close friend's body. Sparking her sword technique, she unleashes Cloud Beam. Himpiki, watching from afar, is completely amazed by its truly massive power output. That arrogant Eva finds this genuinely impressive and completely wastes no time spreading massive chaos. He brags this progenitor body is absolutely optimized and built exclusively for combat. Smirking, Eva sarcastically asks if they actually have any stronger moves. Mel quietly plans her next move. The body snatcher dashes forward with absolute sublime perfection toward Minato, but quickly realizes things went wrong. The real Raichiro just finds this entire situation completely worrying and unimpressive. Mills completely agrees with him here. Honestly, even while piloting his legendary body, this enemy still ends up looking incredibly weak. This totally infuriates Eva, screaming at them not to call him weak. After all, he controls a fully legendary progenitor body right now. You and I know things never go smoothly, right? He digs deeper for hidden power, but the result completely backfires on him. Eva suddenly bursts into tears, completely confusing his own mind. Accessing the ultimate core, he perfectly views the deeply hidden memories burned into Reikiro's living body from long ago. He sees monsters so incredibly horrifying that one single glance could shatter a normal mind. Yet Riro casually erased an entire tower of them with one single effortless strike. Yet despite achieving the impossible, he just looked totally indifferent and completely bored. Eva craved supreme power, but this hits way too hard. This crazy burden pushes far beyond the strict limits of human consciousness. Ava stands completely paralyzed after experiencing all of Raikuro Hinoi's memories. That epic swordsman cleared out monsters and humans alike, effortlessly crossing vast oceans. Plus, the guy literally conquered entire planets all alone. Broken Ava just cries pathetically through the progenitor body. Totally panicked, he wonders when the torture ends. Though he gains power, his mind is shattering. It is just way too much. This pure mental agony is breaking his soul apart. Rikuro calmly suggests just watching him completely self-destruct, but Irsen strongly argues they absolutely cannot do that. If that reckless fool loses control, he will wipe everyone out. Hearing this actually makes Minato deeply worried. An incredibly dark aura completely wraps around Rikuro's body. This throws Ir into a total panic, screaming that control is gone and everyone is officially finished. That mental pressure is way too heavy for any villain, and soon absolutely everyone will feel it. Over in Takasaki within GM, a prefecture, heavy tremors are violently shaking the ground. Kurasagi's partner demands answers, and he immediately orders a massive citizen evacuation protocol. He senses how incredibly massive this dark aura is, discovering the shockwave originates from Megano Prefecture, exactly 96 kilometers away from their location. Karaji desperately wants to know what kind of monster holds enough raw power to actually produce an overwhelming aura like this right now. So where do we go from here? The puppets shatter, leaving Aang and Hiko totally terrified and confused. Stick with me, Shinji can barely stand against an aura this incredibly powerful. Kuromo can't even fight the pressure and just completely collapses to the ground. The same thing happens to So watching his friends suffer makes Minato scream for Raichiro, but the cold progenitor doesn't even blink. The swordsman coldly reminds Mel that he warned her she'd have to handle this mess alone. And honestly, the mage knows that perfectly well. But even in Minato's current state, she claims he has enough strength to beat this guy. Glowing, magical bracelets suddenly appear all around her. This is her magic. Ava keeps unleashing that pure evil energy while Annie stands right behind, completely clueless about everything. The alchemist shouts out to Minato, and the girl, fully aware she's listening. He orders both of them to pay very close attention. Killick explains how some study alchemy while others dive into magic. But ultimately, the search for ultimate truth is what ties them all together. He claims that's one of their absolute final goals. Now watch closely. The man asks if a transcendence form can really be contained in one fragment of truth. Mel also watches this happen from inside the body's control. Fueled by pure hatred, the body thief wants Minato entirely defeated. Ed's mind was completely broken apart, leaving only that dark entity controlling Reichiro's hijacked body. He explains the progenitor is basically an unstoppable force, thrashing wildly like a trapped animal, recklessly destroying absolutely everything in its desperate path to survive. Killick remembers when a young, inexperienced Reichiro completely surrendered himself to this exact state of physical emptiness. Haunted by his past mistakes, he called this scary technique total darkness, because it lacked even a single spark of hope. Mel stares at her friend's body, letting the alchemist's heavy words sink in. Suddenly, a bright light awakens within her. Ava stands right inside a massive vortex of pure darkness. Minato gets completely blasted by the impact, and Shinji is painfully split into several parts. Heiko and Aion get dragged in too. Absolutely no one escapes total darkness, not even the eerie puppets of the fallen ones. This terrifying energy actually triggers the volcano to erupt. Boiling lava shoots out, flying straight toward Kira Asagi and all his allies. Even Minato's mother gets caught in the chaos. The shadows stretch all the way back to the Progenitors Sanctuary where this nightmare started. Total darkness engulfs the whole world, but the actual source suffers even worse. Ava unleashes even more darkness. Mel finally proves she can handle the major truth. Milesius Gentius previously sealed this power because it felt too dangerous for this world. This was one of her ultimate hidden skills, the insane ability to completely analyze any enemy's powers. Perfect understanding. She uses it on Ava. You saw that coming, right? The body thief instantly feels her touch. Mel finally manages it to shut his powers down. She grips him super tight so he absolutely cannot escape. Holding on with everything she has, the mage casts Emil Milam. Ava, still trapping the swordsman's body, screams out as he feels her massive power. A blinding light wraps around them both. Slowly the smoke clears so we can see again. But the swordsman's body is entirely scorched. It slowly begins crumbling away, scattering off into the blowing wind. Even then, Mel refuses to let go, whispering a soft farewell until next time to the remnants of her dear friend. Mel finishes her emotional farewell, saying they will cross paths again beyond the Ring of Truth. The other legendary progenitors watch in complete silence. They are genuinely saying goodbye to their old comrade, but Rhaenyra quickly reminds everyone he's still around. However, Mel explains that the body and soul are completely different things. Meanwhile, Minato is totally stunned by everything. Mel asks if that demonstration helped him understand things better. Either way, she gently gives the body back to its real owner. Meanwhile, everyone else starts cheering, amazed that he actually defeated that monstrous enemy. Ichuka then asks the boy why he didn't even draw his sword. After all, they literally trained for a whole month. Heiko thinks about how he genuinely believed he was stronger than Minato. Now he knows he was wrong and wonders how overpowered his friend will get. Shinji is completely mind-blown that he incinerated Ava that easily, but Ichuka claims she was way more impressed by what happened earlier. To her, it wasn't just blind luck. Minato perfectly analyzed the enemy's skill and totally neutralized it. Aiken realizes this must be the absolute peak level a fighter can achieve. Honestly, she questions if she will ever reach those heights. At least everyone made it out safe. Tenjin sighs at the massive crater, admitting that picking a new captain shouldn't have caused this much insane drama. Realizing Todoroki is also missing, he seriously wonders if he needs to run another test, which sounds like a total headache. Suddenly, Koro spots something weird. Kinem jumps in surprise and nervously asks what's wrong. She points directly at a strange spot. The boy immediately panics, terrified that those creepy mummies might actually be coming back. Even Tenjin starts sweating, suspecting it could be something much worse. Slowly, a new intruder steps out and questions the commissioner. "Trust me, you'll want to see what's next. Stick with me. You and I are diving into a wild twist." Minato spots the old woman from yesterday. Shiki is confused. She calls the commissioner, but it is too late. Her next move startles them completely. She actually kneels down, announcing to everyone that Minato is finally here. Io reveals she waited years for him, then she smiles. "Welcome back, honorable progenitors." That wild reveal drops everyone into pure, absolute shock. Everyone just stares. Minato and his friends are totally stunned that this old woman is the actual commissioner. Ika wonders, did they really not know about her? Or is this simply their very first time meeting? The master explains Io actually founded the CPU organization. She is the highest-ranking official in the entire Japanese branch, but they only care why she is bowing down to Minato Icha. Sarcastically asks how she is ever supposed to know that. Now pay attention, why is the Lady Kanagi met in the central garden suddenly bowing down to him? The boy explains she knows their secret. He asks the progenitors if anyone recognizes her. Nobody has a single clue, but wait. Rikuro suddenly senses something super strange hidden in her aura. To him, it feels incredibly familiar. Theo asks if he seriously forgot her. She is not surprised, considering she aged heavily since their very last meeting. Suddenly, a truly brilliant idea strikes the old lady to help jog his memory. She makes a hand gesture that instantly puts the boy on alert. Striking a totally bizarre stance, the woman calls out to Rikuro, asking if he remembers the legendary wiggle dance. "You and I saw that coming, right?" The confused progenitors finally understand their old memories suddenly flash right back into a not-so-distant past. They finally discover this is Io Mela turns bright red like a tomato, while Rikiro simply asks to borrow the physical body for just a minute. In control, the swordsman notes he has not seen her in centuries, leaving Minato's friends totally confused. Tenjin and Shiki scold the boy for disrespecting the commissioner. Totally oblivious to the threat, they actually seem to really enjoy that silly wiggle dance. Meanwhile, the other two plan a brand new captain test after helping Minato meet the founder. But Io simply asks them both to calm down. Meanwhile, Rikiro says he simply cannot believe how much time passed, shocked she is now an old lady. She remembers how the swordsman always teased her. Io laughs, saying he has not changed one bit. So the video wraps up right here. So what do you and I do now? Hit that notification bell and see you next time on Tobs.